chilies. What is up, people? So it's gonna be a little different today. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out the whole Discord thing, and what I plan to do is basically start doing this over at the Discord side. So right now we're kind of having a discussion. I'm not sure if you guys remember or not from yesterday the Scotty Storm video that he shared with Lake Pontchartrain that I feel is fake. Well, Dean doesn't. We're all kind of just BS talking about it over at server, so I'm gonna go ahead and unmute over there so you guys can hear it, and we'll go from there. And let me know if you guys hear it or not. All right, guys, we're live. Just so you guys know, we're live now. Or is he discording, or is he roboting, or is it just me? All right. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to stream from here. My my connection is not gonna let me. Everything's roboting and everyone's robots to me. I'm gonna start a hangout, and I'll put the link in here real quick before I. Uh, all right, so that's not gonna happen. We're gonna get this off the screen. Like I said, I was just trying it out. I planning on doing sure off the screen real quick. Option. All right, that's better. All right, so I'll go ahead and get the hangout, and I'm gonna get it out to them. That way, we can all rolling. Like I said, I was just trying that out. It wasn't something I was planning to do long. And then what's happening is I'm also setting up my Discord server for it. That way, uh, so probably in the next 2 or 3 streams, then I'll be able to be ready to that way. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and do the session hang as I like to do. Half a second. I have that up and rolling. Okay. So what it is I'm on an extender right now, so I can't running for me to run from Discord. It takes a lot of bandwidth. My internet ain't gonna have it right. As soon as I get this up, let me just get the hangout up. Right. I'm gonna share the hangout over there real quick so that they can get on the panel, and then I'll put the link in the chat. Situate all this. Now we're ready. Over there to them. There we go. Now they got the link. Exit out of Discord. And there we go. So, like I said, we were talking about this over at the Discord side. Dean has, so this is what it is. Dean has an explanation for it. I've asked him for examples because I don't understand it at all. What I see is obviously to me, is obviously a doctored image or a doctored video. Um, Everything I'll show is going to be basically just an image though. Let me show it right now. So there's no good there. I'll put it right here for right now. This is the image we're talking about. This is from the video Scotty Storm shared with me the other night. On his panel. There we go. That way. What's up, guys? Sorry about that. Yeah, my My internet was like, nope, everything was all robot-y. I don't even know if anyone can even hear you at the time, but welcome.
Howdy.
So, I kind of gave them the rough idea what was going on about the whole image or the video. I gave pretty much my verdict on the issues I have with that video. Dean, you say it's legit.
I do say it is the highest probability that that is absolutely legit, yes.
And I agree with him.
So you've got a visual effects artist and you've got a photographer saying, this is real. Tell
Okay.
us your issues, Shawn. We'll help
Okay.
you.
But that's what I mean. That's why I asked what's, or I asked more. Do you have a way to an example of this? Basically, better yet, we're kind of gonna step back. So, guys, I know we've had this conversation already, but a lot of people haven't heard it. So, Dean, I ask, why aren't there shadows on the pillars? And I know we've done this before, but work with me here.
So there's a few reasons. Actually, there's three, and I'll lay them out. So the first one is water does not catch shadow very easily. A few reasons for that. One, it's transparent, and two, it's a constantly moving surface. Two, the angle that you're looking at the objects and the shadow is decreasing the further away you get. So the actual angular size of the shadow is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. If there was any shadow there, that's the important thing. And three, certainly past the certainly on a setting like this, I wouldn't expect to see much shadow, even if even in the most defined of conditions. And you can see this by just looking at vessels in similar lighting conditions, large ships that you think, hey, these must be casting a right shadow, and then just have a look at the shadow from the shoreline. Can you see a shadow? Odds are you probably can't. There's
I just lose all the audio? What happened just now? Can you guys hear me? The hell was that? What the hell just happened? I just lost all audio. Hey, Dean, if you can hear me, 1 second, man. I just lost all audio, and I don't even know why. Give me a sec. That's weird. Hang on. Set. I didn't push anything. What just happened? Give me a sec. Yeah, so I know you guys can hear me. My mic's set up fine. But I just lost all audio, so I can't hear anything at the moment. Hang on. I don't get what the. So the other one thing I can do. Give me a second, because this should fix it. Check. Can you guys hear me? Ah, there you go. I have no idea what just happened. That was insane. 1 second, I could hear everything, and suddenly I couldn't hear anything. And they can't hear you in the chat, so I'm gonna turn you guys up. All right, go ahead and talk real quick.
hello, testing.
Hello.
1, 2, 3.
Hello.
All right. Cool.
Yep, I'm
Yeah.
here.
All right, perfect. Yeah, I have no idea what the hell just happened. So you were saying, you were explaining why there's no
Do you want me to
shadow.
say that? Yeah. Do you want me to say the 3 points again?
Yes, please. I do apologize on that one.
No, sorry. So the 3 points in order of how important I think they are is number one, water is not a brilliant medium for catching any shadow. And you can see this with examples with large vessels in nice, crisp daylight traveling across an ocean surface. And if you look out and try and figure out where the shadow is, you'll notice that there isn't one. Now, that's not to say that it doesn't exist, but from your view plane, you probably won't be able to see it. And that's because, too, besides being transparent, it's also undulating. So it's very hard to find a defined shadow on an undulating surface. This would be incredibly different if we were looking over a solid surface. And then number 3 is your angle to it. So you can see shadows based on angular size, but that angular size is going to be decreasing exponentially at the maximum end of a zoom lens the further away that you get, because it's flattening everything. The distance between these pylons looks like it could be just 10 foot or 20 foot. It's probably more like 100, and they seem to get closer and closer the further away they go.
I believe it's probably in the 40-foot range tops.
But anyway, they seem a lot closer, right?
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Okay, so.
Oh, in fact, where is this? And I'll have a quick look at
It's
the
Lake
actual...
Pontchartrain.
All right.
So one of the questions I apologize, I got the dog right outside my window for some reason. Let's see, I'll share this one. Let me go close my window. Hang on, guys.
That sounds like it's inside. That's not outside.
No, it's a what do you call it? What kind of dog is he? Damn it! A big ass one.
Okay.
He's huge. He's a bull mastiff.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean he's about 30 feet away from me too. He's just loud, real loud.
Is it
okay,
not
so,
yours? Next door neighbors or something?
No, this is my brother's. Okay, so right now, damn it, dog. All I gotta do is freaking tell him to stop. All right, so basically, what I'm sharing right now on the screen is a photo. So if you go into the video, and then once the camera zooms back out, you end up seeing these this tower, basically this pylon. I noticed that those pylons have shadows on them. Dean, you said it was something different, didn't you?
Well, you can... Holy shit. Okay, so wait a minute. Just really importantly, I'm going to correct you now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really sorry. The distance between those pylons is 298 meters.
Okay. Wait.
I'm measuring it on Lake Pontchartrain now.
Wait.
That's
Okay.
over 300 yards.
I know, that's quite amazing.
Okay. Then there's a bigger problem. That effect that you're saying happens on that? You're telling me that...
What effect? What's defined that?
Okay, I'm sorry. The effect of them appearing to be closer.
Oh,
than...
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's incredibly severe when you
then
take out...
Then I have even more of a reason to have an issue with this video, because if you're telling me that's a football field, I'm not seeing... When he zooms back out, I'm not seeing that distance even an appearance. I mean, you would... That's a long way to be looking at this, at the video side of it, because I'll show you guys so you see exactly what I'm saying.
Wait a minute, I'm just going to check that there's no other pylons. I've only found one set of pylons on Lake Pontchartrain at the moment.
Shit, this way.
Okay, wait a minute, guys.
I'm looking at this. This is the photo I'm looking at on screen right now. So just so you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, wait a minute. There are two sets. And, one's 300 meters apart on average. The other's 250. So there's not that much difference.
Yeah. But I would say that effect, I'm not seeing, that seems kind of...
No, that's exactly what I would expect, and this is why it looks odd to us, because we
Exactly.
don't see in telescopic vision. So it's very hard for us to. We actually do see this, but it's so tiny in our vision
Yeah.
that we never actually cognitively perceive it. We just think, oh, you know, there's a vanishing point here, and it goes off, and there we go. Whereas if we could somehow multiply, as in zoom in, just make bigger,
Mm-hmm.
we are actually seeing this. This is within our vision. We just don't perceive it.
If you had a very wide, you could take a very wide angle lens, have a super duper high resolution sensor, assuming that the lens had high enough resolution, and you could literally crop this out of a super wide angle image, and it would look exactly like this, because this is an effect of perspective. It is not a lens. It is not a lens aberration. It's actually nothing to do with the glass, with the lens. It is everything to do with the magnification.
Then wouldn't I
That
don't have
it
my
looks
pictures.
close together.
Well, that effect is just trippy, but I'm not. That's not part of the argument. My argument would be more. There's the shadowing that's not there, but on the other one that it's there.
Yeah.
That is kind of odd that that's
Again,
supposed to be 300 meters. That's a lot.
Sean,
Right.
in the image that you posted with the two
But
with the circles drawn on them to indicate the
mhm.
shadowing, you have shadowing under the big heavy concrete blocks where there's quite a bit more stuff around to block the light, so you've got a bit more shading under there.
but the
Wait a
that's
minute,
okay now.
but I'm seeing the
Alan.
shadow off the pylon though.
Alan, let me
Yeah.
take this 2 seconds because I
Because
have.
I wanted to say just one more thing. If you then look at the single column pylons to the right that you can see shadowing on the sea surface at the edge of it on the first one. On the first one, in that previous image, there is some shadowing at the bottom of the leg. You can see it in that image.
Yeah, this
There's
is all a
shadowing
pointless.
in
This is all a pointless thing, though. Let me just show this what I've got on screen right now. I'm presenting, Sean. I did this just for you.
Another model. Go ahead, Dean. You're presenting.
So I have got an ocean here, and I've got a block that's casting a shadow across that water surface. And we can actually see that there is actually quite defined light here, and I can tell you that there is a shadow. Now, when we increase the angle, do you see what happens? So this is actually a brute force ray tracer. So this acts like what we would expect. We can start to see shadow. The greater the angle, the easier it is to see the shadow. Can you see that? When we
It's a
look
bit
down
dark on
here,
my screen.
Yeah, it's kind of. Can you lighten your side up?
yes, let me just change the real-time ray tracing engine to have different atmospherics on the fly. Yeah, give me 2
Sorry,
seconds.
it's just
Sorry,
it's a
Dean.
bit dark, so it's
Yeah, it's dark, man. Don't yell
excuse
at
me.
us.
Calm down, calm down. I'm going up. I'm going up.
And while he's doing that, I just want to.
Right now,
I
wait a
do
minute. I've
believe
done
this.
it now. I've done
Okay,
it.
hang on. But I want people to understand that I do, in my opinion, I do have an issue with this. I do feel that this video is faked. But at the same time, I again, I've said it to Dean 1,000 times, so they're hearing this again. I don't. I need something else to see because I'm not grasping why it's happening.
No,
you know.
we understand that, Sean. We do
Okay.
understand that.
No, you Dean again, man. I know this is the 5th time we've had this conversation, but everyone else hasn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
So have a look at this. That pillar on the right there that's submerged in the water is actually casting a shadow. It really is. You can't see it at the angle that we're looking at it, but when I pull this up like so, can you see the darker shadow now rendering across it?
Yes, now we can.
Yes.
Yes.
Now go back.
Now, We don't here, even though that shadow still exists. Now, let's pull down this big block and place it close to the ocean. Now, even though it's not really the shadow, and now we can actually see the shadow from the block casting across the other flat block, but now we can see a lack of light underneath this platform. The closer I get to the surface, the greater the lack of light. And that's what I mean when I say, you know, there is shade there. We don't say...
Hey, Jay, go to the hills. Go ahead.
So yeah, this is exactly what we are seeing when we look out across that lake. And this is indeed animated water as well. I think if I press play, yep, it animates.
You can see that there is a shadow on the first one, but it's very, very narrow. And as it gets further away, it's almost across our across our field of vision, left to right, and therefore it becomes narrower and narrower as the things go into the distance, and they disappear as a result of that. It's just a simple perspective effect why the shadows are disappearing. If you look at it, you can see the shadow is very narrow. It's going from left to right, and you can see little shadows. You know there are shadows there. If you look at the other 3 or 4 pillars that go backwards, you can see there's a little concrete block that sticks out pointing at us, and you can see the little bit of shadow that are onto the top of the bar of the post of the horizontal member. You can see there's a bit of shadow from the left hand side, and so the shadow you're trying to see on the water is incredibly narrow, because it's almost like we're looking at this in cross section. So you're not going to see, because you're not going to see a shadow that's going just left to right on the water, which is also nearly horizontal. So because it just so happens that the shadows are going left to right, and we're looking, in other words, perpendicular to our line of sight, and therefore we only see it to the first one. And when you look at again, when he comes back again, you can see that these illuminated pylons are actually slightly different. And what I think is happening here is a cloud or something, because remember, these are very far apart. I mean, we're covering what you said, 300 meters apart, so that's over 1 kilometer, those 4 there. So that means there's a cloud, I think, that's not that's over the stuff beyond about 4 meters, the 4th pylon, and within the kilometer prior to that, it's not there. But it does change when he comes back the second time. They're illuminated slightly differently, so there's no doubt about this being a genuine thing.
Can you make your water calmer?
Yes, I can. Give me 2 seconds, but I just want to prove something to you, because
No. You're not proving anything. You're explaining.
Okay, yeah, that too. So yeah, these are the pylons, and there's only 2 areas of them. So if we actually draw a point from here to here, we see that that's 286. Now there's another set of pylons, and since I don't know which one it is, the other set of power lines is down here, and it's here.
Well, I could tell you right now, the further ones are going to be the ones over the ocean, or further out there.
All right, I don't know, but these are the lesser ones. So
yeah, no, I just know that for the structural design of them.
Yeah.
The only 2
and what's brilliant is there's actual Google images. Check this. This is someone in a kayak going around. So now we can actually verify what these look like as well. And in this lovely day, there we go. There are these pylons.
Well, again, the distance of it and so, none of that's not even up for discussion. The effect that you're explaining, I just don't. I can't put it to something.
Can't you see that the shadow is going almost exactly perpendicular to our line of sight, and it's very narrow, and as they get further away, that shadow is going to get narrower and narrower. And if you look at on the horizontal cross members, you can see other shadows which are much easier to see, because there's obviously some part of something perpendicular to the horizontal member is sticking towards us, and you can see shadows on that. So you can see there are shadows, but the one you're trying to find on the water is going to be very narrow, and it's going to get narrower as it goes into the distance. I don't understand.
Okay, so the reason I'm not seeing shadows on those further ones are because they are so far away.
Yeah, and the shadow is going left to right, and is not very high, because the shadow is going across your line of sight, and it's going to be like an outside elevation. Imagine if you were looking at a side elevation of something, you would not see, if the light was coming left to right, you would not see the shadow of that thing, because the shadow would be very the height of it would be very small.
I'm really sorry to contradict Rumpus here, but the primary thing is the surface itself. It's like trying to cast a shadow on a mirror, but just less of a mirror. You don't get shadows on mirrors.
Yeah, but the point is we do see a shadow on the first one, and the reason it disappears is because
you see lack of light.
Because they get further away, the height of the shadow gets less quite quickly, and that's why it disappears. There are shadows on the first one, and the reason it disappears is because the shadow is left to right and therefore has no height. But when it gets further away, it's like looking at a side elevation. This is just a simple geometry issue.
It's more than that, Rumpus.
No, it's not. No, it isn't.
Yes.
No, we can see. We can
it's
see a shadow. We can see a shadow on the first one, so we do get shadows. But the reason they disappear is because
wait a minute, Rumpus. You can see a shadow on the first one because it's a huge block that is causing the light not to be able to get to the underneath of it, because it's a huge block. It's square. All the rest are not.
I thought I could see some shadows on the other. I've got the thing here. Let me just go back to the. I'm on the wrong one.
So yeah, the water surface not only is undulating, it's also reflective, and it's very hard to discern shadow and reflective unless your angle and what it's reflecting actually supports it.
Right, but the point is that the light is going from left to right, and the shadows, as you can see by, if you go and look at there's a shadow on the top, on the horizontal cross members we can see. You can see a shadow of something sticking out, and the light is going from left to right, and that's why the shadow is going to be very narrow. If the light was from behind us, or the shadow would be coming towards us and away from us, and it would have height. The fact that the light is coming from left to right means that the shadow is going to be very narrow.
I don't know if he's seen the one that we were talking about.
I'm looking at the Lake Pontchartrain curve claims video now.
Okay, so
Globe Lake Pontchartrain. I'm looking at it now.
Once you go in for a little bit further, what we're talking about is there's a pylon, or there's a tower, but it has a big a base with 6 legs on it.
I'm looking at 143. I'm looking at time 143 on the Globe Lake Pontchartrain curve claims debunked mirror on Martin D. Metdoublis. And if you look at that, if you go to 143 on that, you will see shadows as I described on the cross member, and you can see the light is from left to right, and that means the shadows are going to be very, very narrow. And you can see, okay, the first tower is indeed a bit thicker, but the point is the light is from left to right, so you're not going to, the shadow is going to be very, very, not very high. If the light was
I get it. No, what Dean showed, I get it now. The reason I wanted to see if you can make it a little calmer is so I could see that effect.
I have made it calm.
Yeah. No, I see it.
Wait a minute. Just to clarify something, Rumpus, I'm not saying it doesn't cast shadow. Of course it does. I'm saying it's hard to see based on the angle. Are you looking at what I'm sharing?
Yes.
You're looking at what I'm sharing. So
Yes.
I can't see the shadow that's being cast here. I can if I change the incidence angle.
Right, so you're effectively doing here, you're demonstrating what happens. If we're looking at side elevation, you can't see the shadow, which is exactly the situation we've got on the towers as they go further away from us.
Yes, however, the reason why I can see it here is not because of the angular size to it. It's because when it's down here, I should still be able to see it. Now, I can't because the damn surface is reflective.
Dean, make it really smooth. Dean, make it really smooth, and then go into a cross-section mode, and you won't be able to see it then either.
Get closer, Dean. Can you get closer to your pylon?
Right, well, that's the point I'm making about the towers as they go further away.
So from right here,
a cross-section,
in a sense, you should see you'd see it a lot more, right?
Will be horizontal.
Wait a minute, everybody's talking. Say again.
So I understand now why. Okay, so right now we'd have a better chance of seeing it in a real world situation than when you're backed off of it. And the reason that I'm seeing any shadow on the pylon with the 6 pylons is because it's so much closer.
Yes, because it's closer. You're looking down it more, so the shadow's a bit wider from your perspective. the angular size of it is much bigger as a result of it being closer.
Okay,
it's very unfortunate that that the light is going left to right. I mean, if Dean could actually demonstrate this now, if he could make this almost super smooth, and then he could have the light going, which he's almost got it going left to right in this view here.
The water isn't super smooth though.
Well, make it super smooth. I'm saying make
no,
it.
I meant
smooth.
in that image.
I know, but I'm demonstrating the principle. So if you could demonstrate it here in the model, you could make it super smooth, and then you could show. I mean, I don't know if you can put more of these in, and then you can show the shadows will disappear if the shadows are left to right, even on super smooth water.
So this is incredibly super smooth water now.
And then right after we do this, I'm going to go into it.
Right, so there you are. So the point you're making isn't valid because we can't see it at this angle. We can't see it. So it's a function of the angle, not the smoothness of the water.
It's not about really a valid point. Like, okay, so
listen to me, Shawn. Try listening to me.
No, wait, Rumpus, hang on, man. Damn, you're talking and you don't even realize what you're even saying, dude.
Listening.
No, you're not listening because I understand what the fuck is going on.
No,
and I said that 10 minutes ago. What are you talking about? 10 minutes ago, I said I get it now. Fuck, man. Listen, stop talking. Yeah. You don't understand because you weren't here for the beginning of the conversation.
I understand. You don't understand.
Okay, here's the fucking part, Rumpus, because I understand it now.
Right.
And I understood it when Dean was showing it in the beginning with the block and everything. You came in and you've not stopped talking since to hear me say it, maybe.
Okay, so you now understand. Great. So it's a result of the angle of our view onto this shadow. That's why they're not there. And you understand that. Excellent.
Okay. So
it's not, I'm really sorry, Rumpus, but it's not entirely that at all.
Well, it's 95% that.
It's probably about 20% that. I'm really sorry.
Okay, Dean. Okay, you can show this. You can generate more of those into the distance and have the shadows going left to right, and then see if you can see them on super smooth water, in which case you're saying you should be able to see them.
Right, so the issue that you've got here is it's not. I'm looking at a reflective surface.
Well, make it super reflective.
This is water. This is ocean.
Yeah, no. Well, make your case as best you can by making the water very likely to show a shadow.
Likely to show a shadow.
Right.
Look at
the surface such that you would not have if you're making a case of saying the water's making it difficult to see the shadow. I'm saying make it less water-like so that the shadow is more going to be more obvious.
Hey, Dean, do you see what's coming off the pylons right there? Is that what I'm seeing?
You're seeing a reflection.
Yeah, but is that what I'm mainly seeing in the video?
Yeah. You mean around the base of them? Yes. Yeah. You're seeing shading and reflection. Now, if we look up, we can see that these are actually casting a defined shadow. It's not because of the angular size reduction, because we should be able to see them here. It is because it's a reflective surface. Because if you look on this, you can still see the damn shadow. The damn shadow is still here and still big. Yeah. It's that simple. Now, if I were to make this a matte material, the ocean, in other words, take away the fact that it is an ocean and just make it a matte surface, we can see what the shadows are doing. That's what the actual shadows are doing.
Right, indeed,
the only reason we can't see it is it's damn reflective, and you can't cast shadows on something that goes towards a fucking mirror.
Yeah,
right.
I 100%, yeah.
Right, but as I said, most of the, of course, the problem here is, I mean, it's not an ideal surface. I agree with you there. It's not an ideal. If it was a nice whiteboard, we would be able to see the shadows to some degree. But the point is, they're getting very narrow. They're getting very small vertically.
That was number 2 on my list, Rumpus.
Well, I'd say it's number 1.
Well, you're wrong.
I'm right.
The fact, no, you're not. You are absolutely wrong. I'm demonstrating in a brute force ray tracer, Rumpus. There is no better way to demonstrate.
Well, you haven't got these far enough away. I mean, we need to model.
It really doesn't matter how far away.
Look,
you know, the zoom is just fucking. Honestly, one of us is good at this, Rumpus.
I know. I'm good at geometry. Yes. You can see that we're almost got these pylons in cross section. They almost have no thickness in this image, in effect. That's why you can't see the shadows. I know that as
Rumpus,
well as
Rumpus, stop. You see this? I'm going to make this really fucking big now. I'm going to make it like that. Now, can we see a shadow here, Rumpus? Is that what you're saying? Or is it the fact that it's a reflective fucking surface?
Right. Now, you've now made it thick. That's the point. My point is that these things are effectively thin.
Yes, but this is now promoted. The sun is over here. This is now promoting a shadow on this side, which we don't see because of the angle of incidence. We're looking at it based on a reflective surface. The sky behind it is overriding any shading that the shadow is actually giving. The only way to actually see the effect is to increase the angle of incidence and take away that reflective element. And then we start to see it. This is just basic ray tracing.
Well, hold on. We're dealing with something that's effectively very narrow in terms of away from us. The Z coordinate.
I do know this,
right,
however,
okay,
that is not the primary reason we cannot see it.
It is, because that's why it is.
Alan is a radar tech and a accomplished photographer, and Alan agrees with me on this as well.
It's
Rumpus, I'll tell you what, look at this, look at this. We'll create this as a shadow. So this is now going to be our shadow. Yeah, no, I'm not going to be.
I do agree that the water makes the effect, makes it less. Bloody hell, shouting! Makes it less keen on showing up the shadow.
So yes, I know that when we start doing this.
There we go.
Hey guys, hang on for a second. Hey guys, hang on for a second.
Talking.
Hey Sasha, do me a favor, take off for this one, this stream.
Oh, is it because we're swearing? We don't have to.
No, I got Chris from Jim Server. He's porn bombing me.
Oh god.
And Sasha don't need to be here for it.
Okay.
He may, if you're not,
I'm gonna say me and Rumpus can act civilly most of the time towards each other.
Right. But you've got a very thick thing. You've got something with a very.
Yes, I know. Wait a minute.
Can we make it?
Stop.
Can we make it more appropriate for the pylon?
Excellent. Yes, we can.
Right. There you go. You see. There you go.
Yeah, a defined shadow.
Yeah. Yes, just about. And that's the first one. That's the close one. So that and if, as you say, the water will have a small effect.
Oh no, I know this. I know this.
Right, so there we go.
What I'm saying, but what I'm saying, Rumpus, is can you see the shadow now?
Yes, I can, because it's very close, and we're looking down it a little bit. Yes.
You can see the shadow now.
Because you've made it wider. Yes, and we're still very close to it. Yes.
Awesome. Can you see the shadow now?
Oh, I do appreciate that. If you put on really bad,
brilliant. Thank you.
But the point is, we can see some shadow on the first one. So the effect you're describing is a secondary effect, I would argue.
I would argue
second order effect.
No, I would.
Man, I fucking hate niggers. Kill niggers, man.
What the hell?
Hate niggers, dog. Water blast those niggers, man.
Oh dear.
hang on a sec. No, I know who's part of it though now. It's my hang on. Yeah, I just fucking Chris. Yeah, you guys probably don't know him. No. Chris from Jim's server. He's a little butthurt today because he's a little bitch. That's why. But I'm happy. I'm happy it's happening now because I know who's behind all of it. See, that's why I had Sasha take off. No one can hear you guys at all, so don't worry about it. Yeah, no one can hear or see the hangout. Yeah, Shawn Hawkins, YouTube won't do anything about it. There's nothing you can do. I just know, I'm not worried about it. I know who I need to, I can let someone know what's going on and they'll handle it. I believe it has, I think it's Chris from Jim Server. I don't know his last name. You would know, it's Chris with the, yeah. No, he's not. That's what he does, sock accounts and all that kind of stupid shit. Yeah, I'm setting up a new one right now. I'm setting up a new hangout. I'll just share the link with you guys. Yeah, he does it. He does the whole sock account sniping. He does all that crap. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know who it is too. I know who it is for sure now. It's Tim. It's Tim. Yeah, Tim is part of it. I just heard his voice. Yeah, I know he has a for what's it called? Yeah, I forget what it's called. It's a voice changer, but when he uses, there's like this certain program he uses when he comes in the Hangouts. If you hear when the voices start again, listen to the first split second of it. You'll hear the original voice because it has to code it still. Well, it's not just him. Right now, I can tell you it's probably 3 different people, but it's their little fucking crew. No. I shared the link in the main chat earlier. I'm making a new one right now. Oh no, Rumpus, no. I always share it in the chat. This has nothing to do with you. Don't even worry about that. In the chat, give me a second, guys. I'm just kind of I'm making another hangout and dealing with the trolls that are in and out right now. I'm gonna make it so they can hear you but not see you, and then if they come back in, I can just mute it again.
Yeah.
They can hear you now.
So yes, Rumpus, I will give it to you that perspective and angular size reduction based on distance and the fact that we are looking at the extents of a zoom. If the shadows were there, you wouldn't see them due to angular size reduction. I put that at number 2, not based on the observer, but based on what's happening to the shadow, because I know full well that casting a shadow on a reflective and or transparent surface, you do not get definition to be able to see. So in terms of being able to see the shadow in the...
But Dean, we can see, I know it's thicker, the front post at 143.
Right,
we
stop.
can see
Stop.
We can see some shadow.
Have a look at this
All right,
platform.
guys. Go ahead and hit that link, and then I'll see you guys in the other hangout. That way we can do this, okay. And they won't be able to see it. All right, thank you guys.
All right. Share my screen.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yes.
Yeah, so now they won't have the I'm gonna have Jay fill that room.
How did you upset them?
Oh, so he was in Q's chat trolling, and I know his sock accounts, like his regular sock accounts that he uses, and okay. Like a little girl, he assumed I had told everyone who he was. So when I went to the server, he was calling me a snitch. So I said, well, if I'm a snitch, then let me go ahead and do something snitchy. And so I told everyone in the live chat, I said Chris MCM equals, then blue, what was it? Blue something sock account. And he got upset about it. That's how I know he has something to do with it. So that's his problem, not mine. Oh yeah, it's not.
He's a reasonable guy. I'm sure
he's really not. He's really not. He has issues. Yeah, I just hope that he stops. Yeah, everyone can hear you now.
Right, Chris, if that's you with your Chris XXX thingy, you don't normally behave like this. Please, if it is you, please stop it.
No, he does. Yeah. He acts like that with. So he doesn't normally, like I said, he may not have been the porn bomber, but he's part of the group, and he usually he has a very bad addiction to sniping Nathan's channel and all that shit.
He did, yeah. Well, he did get treated very badly by Nathan, admittedly, and he did have a response to that. But he's fundamentally well, this is my experience of him as being a decent guy. So, but you may be right. I may be wrong. I mean, perhaps you've got more information than I have. But from all the interactions I've had with him, he's always been very reasonable. So, but I might be wrong. But that's if I might be the wrong person.
He has his moments, but overall, he's a dick.
Okay, right,
That's just that's the realization of it.
right. Okay, right. If it is him, I'm just very surprised. Oh. Okay. Well, if he can hear
It's
me,
all good. Yeah, either way.
I find it very odd that was Tim, or you think that was Tim Osmond.
I
That's
do.
like,
I think it's
Tim
part of
does
the
that
group.
sort-
I think it's
Tim's
the
a bit of
group.
a naughty
But
boy.
at this
Tim's
point
a bit-
now, I don't even care anymore. They're not gonna. All they're gonna do is just make themselves look bad. But yeah. So anyway, we're done. So when we get Rumpus, you had him make the image white.
Yes, right. My thing is, I agree with Dean that the honest water you're going to have the shadow effect, but you can
percentage.
you can see from the video we're discussing, which is the Globe Lake Pontchartrain Curve Claims Debug Mirror on Martin D. Met Douglas thing at 143. You can see the first tower, which is indeed a double one and slightly bigger.
it's not double. It's like quadruple because it's a flat. It's the base. It's like the base of it is square. All the rest are just the same width, but they've got no depth. They should have their own width as depth. They should be square and they're not.
Okay, but the point is the shadows of the supporting columns. There are individual shadows for the columns, which I suspect are exactly the same size as the ones in the pylons as they go far away. So there are more of them, I agree, but I suspect the actual concrete pillars are the same width, and you can see shadows on this wall.
Right. So wait a minute. Are you ready? Can you see my screen?
Hold on, let me go back to that. Okay, give me a second. Yeah.
Right. So you can see what are we looking at underneath this plane here, this block.
Why have you? Well, obviously you're going to get a shadow underneath it. That's not really relevant.
Right. Okay. So wait a minute. Do you think that's the shadow for this block? What I'm going to do to help you out, I'm going to color it not being the water surface.
I would have thought.
Now look at where the shadow is for that block.
Right. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So what you're looking at is the lack of light, basically. So we have bounce light from all around. Now the proximity of two objects will create a dark area between them because there are less scatter rays that can get to that the tight crevice, which is the proximity area. Now I call that shading. The thing on the left I call shadow, because one is by nature of a directional light source, the other is by a radiosity effect of bounce and scatter light. So that's the two. Now, when you look at the the observation, which is the one that we can see on the oh shit, I put fucking foam back on this bollocks. Stupid foam. I've assigned the wrong shader to it. Give me a second.
Anyway, but the point is that the point is on the first pylon that we can see a shadow. Just
shading, yes.
Okay, whatever you've got, shadow shading.
Because if you look now, can you see the shadow of that block to the left-hand side? No, you cannot. Can you see the shading or lack of light underneath produced by the close proximity? Yes, you can. The two are very different. They both indicate lack of light, but by two different fucking means entirely.
Right. Okay, but it doesn't change my main point, though. The point is that we can see what is definitely a shadow on the pillars, on the pylon nearest to us, on the pillars, which I believe will be the same size as the concrete pillars on the pylons in the distance, and we can see shadows on those, and we can't see a shadow on the next pylon. And so I agree with you that it's the shadow is going to not be as good as it would be if it's a nice white sand or something, or a white surface. So yes, I accept that, but the point is we can see a shadow on the first pylon.
Shading.
Well, no, I think I can see genuine shadows because they're related to the pillars. I can see shadows.
What timestamp is it again?
143. God damn it.
For anybody who wants to get on the panel, you're going to have to either message me on Discord or on YouTube, and for some of you, I've already sent a link out on your Discords or YouTube. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'll give it to you. There might be a little bit of shadowing on there for pylons.
So okay. So therefore, we are getting some shadows on the first pylon, but we're not getting them on the other ones, and that's because the angular or the orientation of these things is almost edge on, and therefore reducing the angular size of these things, and therefore we can't see them. Flipping heck, that was hard work.
The problem is that most of the rest of the pylons are in shade anyway, so there isn't really much of a shadow left. And in the ones that are in shade, there is a darkening on what is the shadow in the lit ones on the cross member, but that is back down to the level of shading, not shadow.
There you go,
Really.
Alan. Thank you. So, Rumpus, yes, you are correct. You are correct in saying that there is a massive angular size reduction, and if there was defined shadow, we probably wouldn't see it anyway.
And it's not just the angular size; it's actually the orientation. As it gets further away from us, it's more what I'm going to call it edge on. It's more perpendicular to us, which will aggravate this issue. It's not just a distance issue; it's the orientation of it. Because we're looking slightly it's not just the angular size, but the orientation has become gradually as it gets further away from us. We are going to be looking at more and more edge on, so to speak.
Can I screen share some images?
So I didn't fully understand your point. Sorry, Alan, was that Alan? Was he?
Yeah.
Right. So could you just repeat that point you were just making to me about?
How do I stop sharing?
That's me. Hang on.
Oh, right, okay.
Sorry about that.
So how are you distinguishing shadow and shading, Alan?
Same way I do.
Well, I'd just like to hear Alan's explanation.
Where there is a sharply defined edge, I will call it a shadow.
Right.
Where there isn't a sharply defined edge, I will call it shading.
Are you talking the difference between penumbra and umbra?
No.
No, because there's
Thanks, Gary.
The problem is that it's the fact that there isn't the shadow is it's not penumbra. It's much more that there is far more scatter coming back into it.
I can clarify this. I can clarify this for both of us.
Okay, what you're saying is there are secondary sources. Okay, you're saying there is a secondary other reflections of light, which therefore is radiating into that area. Therefore,
it's dispersion.
So
what do you mean by dispersion?
Wait a minute. Let me just add something.
Hold on. It's just used the term there. Hold on. I just want to find out what Alan means by dispersion.
I can clear this up really quickly.
Okay.
Right. So number one is direct lighting and shadow. Secondary is indirect lighting and shadow.
Yeah.
We mean indirect shadow is what we're on about. Is shading.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right. So in other words, we're getting a light coming from the sun causing you what you call shadow. Then that then reflects off some other object to then illuminate, or then something's in the shadow of that secondary source of light, which is a reflected source. Okay.
Yeah, and that's primarily the dark effect that you see under the first pylon is actually the indirect shadow, which we call shading.
Now, this was actually a bright sunny day.
Oh, nice. Did you take this, Alan?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Now this one is actually processed, but I've got a load more that I didn't do a bit of extra processing to.
Points for anybody that can guess what model that helicopter is?
Seeking, isn't it?
It's a Merlin.
It's a Merlin.
Oh right, yes, I can ask that. Yes, okay, yeah, it's more modern. Yeah, they replace Seeking replacement.
Yeah.
In a second, I want to go over that video because the video that well, the reason why we're here. Yeah. Go ahead, keep going. I just want to let you guys know. I'm trying to find it right now.
Have we seen a shadow yet? Remember, this is a sunny day. Here we go. That's
that dude looks dead. That was hung there, by the way. He looked lifeless. Look at him. That's not a real dude, is it?
No.
That is a real dude.
Oh my god, is it? He looks lifeless.
because they picked him up off the end of the.
I think at that point you're just letting Jesus take the wheel.
Yeah, I think the RLNI guys are instructed to, keep the arms hard against the sides and keep the feet hard together and look up.
So your
Yeah, don't they
site is-
have? Isn't there like a electric, like like you can get pretty effed up from doing something like that? What is it?
What
What's it
you have to
called?
be very careful of with the helicopters build up huge electrostatic charges because they've got them things on the top and the tail going round and round quite
The
quickly.
rotors, yeah.
And so when they run that cable down, they actually have to hook it with a thing called a Brinkley stick, which will
grounds it.
discharge.
Okay, discharge. I'm
ground
sorry.
it through a resistor. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I've always heard about.
where's the sun in this picture, Alan, coming from?
It's coming over my right shoulder.
Right, so there's a little bit of shadow.
It is getting diffused. It is a bit diffused.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, you're saying you're citing this as evidence of no shadows on water. This is the point of this exercise, presumably, you're showing us this. But I mean, even on the helicopter, I can't see. So if the light's coming from the right hand, you said it's coming from your right shoulder, so it's coming from the right of in the picture.
Yeah,
you can see a little bit of shadow behind the jet nozzle on the just below the
because it's
the
getting
rotor.
Unfortunately,
but it's not a sharp
diffused.
shadow. I mean, this is not. You said it was a bright day. I mean, I can't see any shadows.
That's the point, Rumpus. Jesus
that's my...
Christ.
Well, hold on, but
it's
we
a
hold on.
reflective surface.
Well, right, so you're claiming then that this Merlin seeking helicopter. Hold on, you're telling me that this Merlin helicopter would not demonstrate having shadows on it. Is that what you're telling me?
The problem is that it's very difficult to get very good shots of this because the trouble is when you're working over the sea like this, it gets very hazy very quickly. And even though it's a bright day and you end up with sunburn,
so you're saying if I go and get a picture of a Merlin helicopter, I'm not going to be able to find shadows on it? That's what your claim is it? Right.
No, I'm not claiming that.
Well, can we make up decide what the claim is? Because I'm just being told by Dean was sort of making noises there as though I shouldn't be expecting to see shadows on the helicopter. Is that your position?
On water.
No, we're talking about on the helicopter. We're talking about shadows on the helicopter.
Oh,
you
right
just
now.
said, this is getting frustrating.
Right.
Oh,
the best
really
part, my favorite part about this whole situation is like the whole thing was between me and Dean. We sorted that out, and Dean or Rumpus, you're kind of like just arguing because you're here. Like I don't understand what you're doing. Like I'm not sure what you're arguing right now.
Right. So So
explain it.
Right. Okay. So I came in to say that there weren't any shadows, and I gave a reason for it. And so far, gradually, it seems that everybody's agreeing with me now. So okay. So I haven't got anybody to. Well, I've been given pictures of helicopters, being told there shouldn't be any shadows on them. But now we're talking about shadows in the water. No, but we're talking about shadows on the helicopter. I don't know. So Right, so it seems everybody's now in agreement with me about why there aren't any shadows on the pylons beyond the first one. Okay, well that's fine. I'm happy with that. If that's the position we've all adopted, then wonderful. Okay, and I do accept that the shadows on water are less shadowy and less obvious than shadows on other things. I completely accept that. But the point is, we've got a shadow on the first pylon, and we haven't got shadows on the other one.
No, you have got indirect shadow on the
No, we've got
pylons
shadows.
predominantly.
We've got shadows of those pillars. Yes, we have. Yes, we have. Yes, we have. Yes, we have. Very definitely. You even agreed. Dean, you even accepted this about 5 minutes ago.
There's a little bit of shadow.
There's a shadow there.
No, it's predominantly indirect.
But what do you... But we have a light coming from the left-hand side.
Oh, for
and we can
fuck's
see
sake! Yes, right. Stop, Rumpus. I'll ask you some questions now. We'll be in a courtroom. Where is the light coming from, Rumpus?
the left-hand side,
Is it high or low?
low.
Right. Do you think that somehow it bends all the way up to the fucking sky and comes downwards on that pylon? If so, then why is the shadow not extending out to the fucking right? Your Honor, I rest my case.
What they are? We are getting shadows extending from the right to the pillars.
Rumpus, can you do a better job? Because Dean's not allowed to leave here correct.
No, Rumpus. Look at the shape of the object. It's a square platform with 4 fucking legs.
6 legs.
6 legs.
No, 6 legs.
All right. Well, it's square anyway. I know it's square.
Yeah,
I've seen it in the kayak pictures. So the sun is to the left and is low down. We can determine that by shadow on the second.
That's what I said. Yes, you're agreeing with what I said. Yes, you're agreeing with what I said. Yes.
Brilliant. So, is the shadow represented there correctly given where the sun is? Yes or no?
Which shadow are you referring to?
The shading underneath. I'm going to call it shadow for your benefit.
Right. Is the shadow in the right place for the sunlight? Yes.
Yes. Is it?
Yes.
Right. So you see on the second pylon on 140.
143. I'm looking at. Do you want me to look at what you looking at? 140. I'm looking at 143. If I can go to 140, if that'll. Okay, let's go to 140. I can change. All right, let's go to 140. Okay, so I'm looking at slightly different then. Okay, yeah, that is a better one to look at actually.
So if you look at the shadow that the second pylon has on the left leg of it, you see that the shadow is supporting where you say the sun is on itself on the cross beam.
Oh right, yeah, yeah, exactly. That's the point.
Awesome. Now, can you see how can you imagine the depth of that strut and how much gap, how much how much extrusion there is away from that cross beam? Isn't a lot, but there is quite a lot of shadow and distance that the shadow casts. Correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Now, can you see that on the shadow on the ground on the first pylon? Yes or no?
Well, the pylon that's next to us is orientated in a different way. It's pointing at us. It's not in the same orientation as the others.
The far side on the nearest pylon has a strut going down. The furthest one on the right, is that casting a shadow to the right into the water? Yes or no?
So I don't know what you're referring to.
The first pylon that is a square has struts going down. The one furthest to the right, pillars.
Okay, yeah, right.
The ones furthest to the right, is that casting a shadow out to the right?
No, I can't see one.
No. Why is that, Rumpus?
Presumably because it's being there is less light down there as a result of the other pillars to the left of it.
Are any of those pillars other than the one that happens to be on the left? And
well, that's the one that's got most light, hasn't it? The rest of them are having interfered.
I see light on the one on the far right because it's such a low sun.
You can look. Can you see that the left hand, that pillar on the most right, can you see that it's got a black line down its left-hand side? It's clearly in the shadow of the other, either of the pillars or a part of the platform. It's got less light on it, therefore the shadow will be less distinct. The pillar on the left, you can see, does not have a black line on the left-hand side. It's in more light, and that's why we can see its shadow more clearly.
No.
Yes.
No.
Absolutely, 100% yes.
I can build that in the ray trace and show you that what you're saying is absolutely bollocks.
Every single thing so far, you disagree with me initially, and then you finally agreed with me. And this is going to happen.
No.
Yes.
My second point was your fucking primary one, you egotistical prick.
Look, prickhead. I came in here, kicked off with my analysis before anybody said anything. You then mentioned your
No.
Yes.
You came in here after me and Shawn had fucking started talking. You again, you egotistical prick.
No, you egotistical. Look, the point is, you claim it's the primary thing, that I've established it's not, because we're getting shadows on the first thing, and we're not getting shadows on the second pylon.
Established bugger all.
We've established that we can see shadows on the first pylon and not on the second. Therefore, the primary issue is the angle with which the shadows are presented to us, not the fact that the water makes life more difficult, although that is a factor. It's a second order factor.
Just hijack your explanation.
No, I've been completely consistent in my explanation from the start, and I've said this.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm just happy all the focus came off of me.
Nice.
Dean thinks he's been playing with ray tracers all his life. Oh God, honestly.
Oh yeah, he does. I mean, he does think his 4K.
He
I
does,
haven't, I
yeah.
haven't, I haven't been playing with ray tracers on my live.
Well, whatever. Anyway, the point is, I'm right.
Right,
That's the key point.
I'm gonna share this now.
You know, Dean, I'm always right. You know, this is going to end in tears for you.
Not really. So here we have that.
It's
You know,
too low, Dean. That platform is too low with respect to the rest of the aspect ratio. These pillars are quite narrow.
You're presenting now.
Dean and Rumpus, I've realised what part of the problem with those images are.
Oh yeah.
The sun is coming down from a fairly high angle.
You think so?
And it is for my picture.
Oh, for your picture. For your
my
picture.
pictures.
Right.
And you've got a fucking mirror sitting there reflecting all the sun back up into the
No, it's all right, Alan.
Right,
Rumpus seems to think that mirrors can receive shadow, so it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No. I think that is actually an issue. Yes, if the sun is coming high.
I was forgetting that I actually had the subjects sitting above a fucking great big mirror.
Right, it's just that you mentioned initially that the light was coming from the right, and I thought I could see a shadow. I thought I could see a bit of a shadow on the nozzle of the engine underneath the rotor.
There's bits of shadows, but I just found some more pictures actually of a Sea King, and there's basically no shadows visible on the aircraft, even though there's serious specular highlights, specular reflections of the sun off the airframe. Just because it's sitting so close to the bloody surface, it's just being illuminated by the
sea,
by the light reflecting up off the sea. And in fact, one of the problems I have at air shows is getting the color balance correct on the aircraft, because the top half of the aircraft is illuminated by the sky, and the bottom half of the aircraft is illuminated by the hide green light reflecting off the airfield.
Right. You're going to Duxford's Battle of Britain thing when it is in a few weeks?
In September, I won't be. I'm hoping to go to the Duxford September one. Yes.
Right.
There was an air show today, wasn't there? Or yesterday?
Yeah. There was one at the Old Warden. There was one at the Old Warden, but last week I nearly went to.
Yeah.
No. I watched it live on YouTube.
Cold Rose. Royal Naval Air Station, Yeovilton. Sorry.
Yeah, and that was yesterday, wasn't it, Alan?
Yes.
Yes, I watched it live on YouTube.
Very
cool. Yeah. The highlight, I think, was the Typhoon pilot. It was.
You get all your information from YouTube, Dean.
He has to be in a ray tracer. They sent him a ray tracer animation or something. Maya animation.
Yeah, he did the tutorial. He watched the tutorial on YouTube.
Yeah, now I think I'm an expert. But anyway, Shawn, getting back to you and I.
I've been going to the Shuttleworth collection since about 1970.
Wow.
Right, let me just finish this with Shawn.
Hold on, I've got to talk to Alan about that. I almost went to put a sock.
2:10.
I know, I'm going in a second. Have you been up in the Sopwith Camel? Sometimes they give you a flight. You can go up in a Sopwith Camel to play with or something on some of the days. This is rather. I nearly did a few years ago.
Yeah, you can. I've not been up in any of their aircraft, but yeah, you can. It's a good show.
Last week they had 6 Hurricanes there.
Yeah, last year at the the year before last at the Battle of Britain display at Duxford, they had 7. It's the biggest formation of Hurricanes since the war.
Right, I think it was 2 years ago. They had 7. I saw 7 Spitfires at Duxford. I think it might have been 8 actually. 7
Hurricanes, and there was over a dozen Spitfires in the final parade.
Right, yeah, okay, that could have been the one I went to. Yes, that could have been the. Yes. Anyway, so is it?
I shall share the photos with you at some other opportunity.
Indeed, right, okay. You're not based in this area as well, because it seems to me that Dean, myself, Farmer's Boy, now you seem to be in this sort of area as well.
On the other side, because I'm near the coast in Norfolk.
Right. Okay. Right. Anyway, so Dean, you're okay. Back to you then. I think.
Yeah, no. I just want Shawn. I just want 2 minutes with Shawn. So Shawn, do you accept my 3 explanations for why you can't see the shadows and why it looks the way that it is?
100%.
Awesome. And just to add to that, one of the primary things that would trump all of that is the amount of effort that it would take to fake that in the way that it's done. The one thing that you can never ever do, I say that you can track it on a pixel by pixel basis, and if you put markers, but you cannot do tracking on water. And so you can actually put something on the water surface in CG or 2D and say, oh, by the way, this is there, because the fucking water surface is moving. You can on a road, because you put a marker down, it samples around it, and it says, right, I'm going to anchor myself here, so that when the next frame comes, it just finds that it finds that portion of the ground that you were tracking to. You can't do that with water, so
If you
therefore that's
try,
why.
if you
Oh yeah,
try,
it goes
you
all
see a
over.
line, right? Like you'll see a line,
Yeah.
a distinct. Okay. Thank you.
Surely, Dean.
Hang on. Do you have a second, Dean? Because what I want to do from this point is then explain why the video shows what it shows. You want to just? I'll give you the floor if you can just give me a quick one, because I do know it's late. But again, this was a flat Earth evidence video that was presented. And
well, wait a minute. I think, as much as I think he's an egotistical prick sometimes, I think that George would be better to it. No, I'm only kidding. I think that we all knew who I was talking about.
Is a naive Dunning-Kruger. He is actually correct in his analysis that I can do a better analysis. So he's got that bit right.
No, a better explanation of the refractive effects on what we see. I'm
not sure. I must admit, I had a look. I went and counted the pylons that he did when he zoomed in and compared them with Soundly's and counted the same number. And he did seem to be getting. Now, he was doing his observation, I think, the left-hand side of this, whereas obviously this guy's on the right. But nonetheless, I counted the pylons, and it did seem as though Soundly was getting more curve than this guy was for the same pylon position. He's obviously on the same must be on the same elevation, I presume, at the same the other side, I presume, of this the one side of this chain of pylons is the same height as the same as the other. So I can only so if I'm forced into saying that, then they got the same elevation, they got the same magnification, they got the same number of pylons, then I'm forced to conclude that the refraction conditions were different. But I'm not completely happy about that. But that's currently what I can, because they are bending more in sound, they're curving more in Soundless than they are in this one. Although I do believe you can see a curve. If you draw a line on this, you do get a slight curve, but it's not as curved as Soundless. So
about in this range right here, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor or not.
I can.
Just before that.
That's right, that one. Yeah, I counted, I think, up by 25 pylons. That's pylon number 25, I think, in comparison to the first one. From the first one, about that was 26 or something. I can't remember that one. So yours is a bit clearer there, actually. Are you looking at this in the 1020 option?
No, 480.
Or is it 720?
This is 1080 right now.
Yeah. Okay, I was thinking it's 720. So
I'll give it back a little bit so we can see. There we go. We'll start from here.
Yeah. So as I say, I did the pylon counting and.
But Rumpus, I can see massive refraction effects and distortion down there.
Indeed. Agreed. There are inferior mirages. I agree with you. There's more inferior miraging in this one than there is in the Sound. But it's the curvature. You can see it does curve. But it's not
to any degree, really. That has pulled all of that up. I'd expect to see in reality a geometric curve there, but it's pulled all of that up pretty much as close to flat as I can imagine. If you draw a line,
there is
a slight deviation, but to the eye, you could pass it for flat, which is what it was presented as.
Yeah. So the trouble is, it's not very clear at the end there what. Yeah, he didn't have as good conditions.
I think you can see the other side of the lake as well, by the way, at the end of those pylons.
Yeah, that's what the claim is, that you can see the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but it could just be that is as we said, a 1 in 1,000 day.
Yeah, I'm not.
Where it's.
So as I say, I've counted the pylons, and up to that, the one you've got there, the light coloured one, and it was bending more in Soundliz to that point, and so refraction conditions vary dramatically. We know this. This is why we get mirages and inferior mirages. You can even get curving up. So this does happen. It's a known, established thing. So there could be different refraction conditions. I mean, for instance, and the Anthony one, I'm involved in the Anthony Riley observation of the Isle of Man. One moment he's getting Fata Morganas and he can get down on the beach and he can see shore to shore over 50 miles, and then the next day he gets in little inferior mirages, and then the lighthouse he's looking at is jumping up and down by many. Sometimes you can see all of it, sometimes you can't see very little of it, and sometimes you can see the whole shore. So yeah, refraction changes. So but I haven't done enough analysis to be absolutely sure about this, and I just would love, and I do believe you can see some curve there, but I haven't done it. I haven't done a proper analysis on it yet. And you can certainly see there's an inferior mirage there. That's
what we're seeing right now in this.
Yeah,
in this situation.
yeah. That's clearly an inferior mirage.
As I've said before, just from air, just from air being heated over grass over a distance of 50 meters, I have seen the image of an object raised by 10 millimeters plus.
And that wasn't an inferior mirage.
That was literally just from the refraction of the fact that the air is rising, and the rising air is lifting the image.
Well, if you've got hot conditions, that actually does the reverse, and you get inferior mirages.
Yeah, but this is over 50 meters of flat ground.
Yeah, on a hot day.
On a hot day.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect it to be lifting it up on a hot day. You see, that's the point. You should expect to see inferior mirages.
Yeah, but there's no curve. There's no. It literally lifts it up because
So when you say lifted up, how are you determining there's been lifted up?
Because I'm trying to punch holes in a piece of paper that's 50 meters away, and the image moves around.
So you're talking about being on a shooting range.
Yes, I'm talking about being on a shooting range.
Right.
Because I have been a serious level competitive rifle shooter for about 30 years.
Right.
And I mean the targets.
So when you say it's been lifted up, are you sure it's not the standard position? Is what do you regard as the correct position for something to have been? How do you?
Well, I have the rifle that is zeroed so that the rounds go in the middle of the target.
Right.
And the image gets lifted up, and all of a sudden the rounds are going 10 millimeters high.
Right.
And it is, and if you then, this is in a zero wind condition.
Right.
If you then introduce wind, the rise goes away, and you can actually see the mirage run left or right.
That's right. That's what happened.
And then it moves the image downwind, so that sometimes you actually have to allow double windage against what you see on the backs.
Okay, that's not right. I must admit that's not a scenario I've considered. Yes, but it is in theory you can get that. Bloody hell, right? Jesus Christ.
So this is why I know that the mirage is actually moving the image of the target around, because actually you don't chase it. You sit there for a long time waiting for the conditions to be the same each time.
Right. So how often is that something that happens? So this is you. So how high is the target above the ground?
The target is about a meter.
Right, and you are on the ground, presumably lying down.
Usually we're raised up a little bit
Right.
on the firing point, so we're maybe we start about half a meter above the ground.
Right, and so you're talking about a 1 meter target
1
going
meter,
up.
so we're looking at
So the target's a 1 meter.
The target, the target, the bullseye we're trying to hit is 10.4 millimeters in diameter at 50 meters.
And 1 meter above the ground.
And about 1 meter above the ground.
And you're saying that that the target can appear 50. Did you say 50 millimeters higher than it should be?
10 millimeters, about 10 millimeters
Sorry,
higher
10
than it should be
millimeters.
at 50 meters.
So 1 centimeter higher than it should do.
A significant change over a relatively short distance, really.
Yes, absolutely. Right, so 1 centimeter change in height over 50 meters, and that goes up. Right, so that was on a hot day.
Yeah, and when you're actually looking through, if you actually look through the spotting scope,
right,
you actually see the mirage bubbling up. So you see the shimmer going upwards.
What time of day was this?
Oh, this could be
in the evening.
This can be. This is worse when you end up being dicked with getting a detail at like midday when the sun's vertically above and heating the ground really hard.
So this happens at midday, right?
Yeah, because ideally what you want is to shoot first thing in the morning or last thing at night when the ground's not being heated.
Well, actually, it's odd you should say that, because it's actually in the evening. It's actually late evening that it's established that you get the maximum curve, you get the maximum refraction effect.
Yeah,
so I'm surprised you say that.
We're talking short distances. Remember, on 50 meters is not what we usually can look at for when you're looking at mirage effects.
Well, I'm referring to a scientific paper that was done in the field over about a distance of about 600 meters or something, and they've shown that the radius of curvature of the light rays in the evening, and this is the same thing that Natty has also discovered, the late evening is when you get these refraction conditions that are extreme, and it's in the evening. So I'm a bit surprised you say that, but
I think what it is also, of course, that mornings is optimum. Midday when the sun beating down is really bad, because
yes, mornings. Yeah, the mornings are best.
Because you're getting the
atmosphere lower temperature.
No, the problem is because the sun is directly overhead. You're getting differential. You're actually getting differential heating off the bits where the grass is thicker and thinner, and different colours of grass.
Right. Yes, that's true.
Even in sort of, it might only be a half meter area of darker green grass that will be not pushing hot refracted air up as fast as the light coloured bit next to it. So you get because the worst bit is you get these mixed areas of ground that are pushing in, that are at very different temperature. The areas at very different temperatures, and that is what gives you the refraction in, because it is actually that. Whereas when you get into the late afternoon, you don't see the effect on the target so badly.
Yeah, as you say, because obviously, if as you say, something is going to absorb the heat like crazy with direct sunlight. Yes, it's obviously going to be that you're exaggerating the difference between the warm bits and the cool bits because the sun is making that difference. Yeah, I'm just.
It's not being directly heated. It may well be giving off the heat, so you're going to get a lot of general refraction, but it's going to stay still, which is not so much of, as I said before, we are looking for consistent conditions.
Yes.
So
Well, I'm absolutely amazed that you're.
doesn't matter so much if it doesn't matter so much if the image is raised by 10 mil.
If you know that's what it's
If
doing, yeah.
if it stays the fuck where it is, so that we
Yeah.
can adjust our sights for it
Yeah.
and shoot.
Well, you amaze me. I must admit, I'm a little bit confused about this because the sort of tonight you're talking about looming, extra looming there, and you're saying this happens. Yeah, okay. I mean, you can get weird. Okay, I must admit that does surprise me a little bit, but okay. I mean, obviously, if you've observed that, and it just sounds obviously you've given a very credible observation there.
Well, it's the same. It's the same effect that causes thermals. It's why we don't try flying gliders late in the afternoon.
Yeah, but that's the point. When you have a thermal, what that does is that causes higher temperature near the ground, which means it's less dense, which means it's less refractive, and that's what causes inferior mirages. Whereas what Alan is describing is not an inferior mirage. He's actually saying it's been lifted up, and that's not the effect you're getting with an inferior mirage.
He's talking about hot ground.
Yeah, he is talking about hot ground. That's my point. And that means it's less dense.
Causing conduct.
Yeah, but it should have the opposite effect. If you have, you see, normally the air near the ground is dense. With normal standard looming, the air near the ground is denser than the air above. Whereas when it's got a lot of sunlight on it, that's not the case. The air near the ground is actually less dense, less refractive, and therefore that's why you get inferior mirages and the light bends in the other way. Whereas,
to be honest, I have never tried modelling it out. I've just had to deal with this shit going on.
Yeah, the reality. Yeah, quite.
Yeah. Because the problem is, to be honest, this is not an unusual condition for a rifle shooter. This is what happens at pretty much every outdoor range in the summer.
Wow, does it really? I don't suppose you could take some video of this, could you, Alan? That would be fantastic. If you could you record this on video to show this what you're looking? If you want, up to you, obviously. But just because this is an amazing effect. Because this is
yeah, because you need more work to do, don't you, Romper?
Yes, that's right.
Add more things to the fucking list. Have you got my IOR values yet?
I'll do that. I'll do it, Dean. I'll do it.
Jesus.
I'll tell you what the biggest.
I've had a busy day. I've been doing some gardening, watching some cricket and tennis and things and Grand Prix.
You know what the big problem with doing this is, don't you?
No, you're going to tell me. Hopefully,
you've got no reference frame to know whether it's fucking moved or not.
Right, but that's my point. That's what I was hoping. You see, I was hoping you'd take a video in the morning and in the midday, then in the afternoon, and then you could say, "I have left the gun in exactly the same position, and I'm looking at the target, and I keep the camera in exactly the same position over this long period. I know that's a bit tricky, and then you can say, look, there it was, there, and then you can see the variation.
Well, you could do that with a spotting scope, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could do it with anything.
Yeah, right. Apart from, I haven't got anything that I can set up,
right,
that I can actually record it at a high enough magnification that you will see it.
Yeah.
You see, I can.
Well, you could look through you can sit through your spotting scope, so you could take a camera just looking through your spotting scope, couldn't you?
Yeah, but I couldn't. No, because that's the problem. I can't keep it. I have no way of fixing the camera to the spotting scope.
Well, okay, but could you not? I mean, you can get these little stands for, as well as sort of tripod. You can get these little stands for a camera. But yes, obviously we're now talking about sort of quite a lot of effort on your part here.
It's going to be a real pain in the ass.
Yes, it is.
It's going to be a real pain in the ass to do, because you have no reference marks, because there's no reference mark in the spotting scope. I mean, I'm shooting with iron sights. I'm not using lenses in my sights.
Oh right.
Okay, the reason why I know that the image moves is because of the results I get, because the hole appears in the wrong place.
I see.
The hole appears a centimeter high
on
the target.
Right. Okay.
Alan, have you just to make sure we do the flat Earth thing? Have you considered all of the possibilities, like you're a shit shot?
Yeah.
All right. Just check it.
Because guess what? Some days I am.
Nice.
Some days everybody is.
Yeah, it's okay. You're using iron sights. Okay.
I watched in 2013, 2014. I watched the 12 Olympic air rifle champion shooting at the British Airgun Championships. And he had a bad day one day. It's a 3-day match, one match each day, 60 shots at 10 meters with an air rifle at a target with a bullseye that is 0.5 millimeters in diameter with a 4.5 millimeter diameter pellet. And he scored 599 one day out of 600.
All right.
The other 2 days he scored 600 and 600.
Right.
He had a bad day.
Dear me.
One shot.
I used to shoot at a range called Beverley, which is up near my home county of Yorkshire. It's just above. It's just near York.
Yeah,
and
I know Beverley.
Oh dear, but do you know that the Olympic champions for 3 generations, an entire family, shoot there? So, and I had the privilege to do rounds with them one time. So you got the grandfather, father, and son, who was the current Olympic champion in Olympic trap.
Yeah.
Which and it's
that shotguns. That's different.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love that.
Different.
Yeah. No, I love my shotguns.
Just remind me, Alan, you said you've been to the Old Warden show every year since 1970 something.
No, not every year, but I've been going there since 1970.
A specific Old Warden show, or just sometimes you just turned up?
We used to go 2 or 3 times a year.
Right.
There's been quite a few years when I haven't been, but yeah.
Okay.
One of my favourites.
Oh, okay. Right, so I just thought it was amazing.
But
okay,
I can remember going from sort of that age, from about 5 or 6 years old.
Bloody hell.
Wait a minute, there's some dude in the chat that said the concave Earth can explain everything that a spherical Earth can't.
No, it can't.
Oh, that's Jason. He is the only concave Earther.
Yeah, but I said name one, and I don't know whether he was replying to me actually. I said name one, and he said pressurized system next to a vacuum is concave spherical Earth.
He's cool. He's a cool dude, but he is the only concaver.
Yeah. I think Arwen's trying to be a concave, isn't he? Or someone else was.
Is there?
I see. Someone else was meant.
Jesus.
Oh, yes, I'm just nuts.
Well, I heard what's his name? Arwen was like I know when I first came around, he was a rectangle Earther.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He's got some strange folding octagonal something or other rectangular thingy. Yes.
Yeah, that was a while
ago.
He
can't draw, can't present, can't describe properly. But yes, it's got rectangular bits folding around it in ways he wouldn't. Yes, it seemed to invalidate geometry. Yeah.
I do believe Arwen does hold the record for the longest "I'm a flat earther" without a reason ever. Like, he doesn't even give bull. Like, he just never talks. Like, has no evidence. Doesn't talk about it. He just has these weird paragraphs he'll say and then flips out.
Here's a really interesting thing. When I first went on to when I first got interested in flat Earth, which was about 2 years ago, I guess, I went on to Nathan's show, and Arwen spoke to me afterwards, and he Skyped me, and he told me that he believes in gravity, and that was one of the first conversations I had with a flat earther that wasn't on Nathan's show. It was a Skype call with Arwen, who said he believes in gravity.
Yes, he said that. Yes, he's the one who. Yes, that's right. But he doesn't believe it's. There are 2 types of gravity, I think, in his head. One is
weird.
Yeah, I know. It's something. I can't remember now how they distinguish it, but yes, he does. He has been attacked by Nathan and Sleeping Warrior Riley on numerous occasions in the last year about the fact that he believes in some sort of gravity-related thing.
Yeah, they shut him down pretty quickly when he starts that. I've listened to him quite a bit, and Arwen relies heavily on the shit happens explanation.
I have a question for you guys that I really am interested in hearing your opinions on. The graviton.
That is an interesting question.
Because I was listening to a podcast last night about it, and again, I know nothing. But if it were to be the theoretical or hypothetical,
But
see, I don't even know how to even say it. Like
Sean,
they made it seem like it was like the or like it was like where gravity resonates from. See that I'm confused, but that's what I wanted to hear.
You're not the only one, because if the model that Einstein has proposed is correct, the space curvature thing, you don't need gravitons. It's not a force; it's just the result of the curvature of space-time. Therefore, there is no need for all this graviton bollocks. But indeed, there's a set of people out there, presumably as part of the quantum model of gravity, who are going around searching for gravitons. But as far as I understand it, our current model is that they don't exist, at least for most people, general relativity believers, anyway.
Well, you know, when we're sitting here discussing whether or not Lake Pontchartrain's got a curve in it, it seems to me that discussing gravitons might be taking it a little bit too far.
Depends who you're discussing with, I suppose.
Well, yeah. Well, if that's the case, then
maybe particle physics is not the place we ought to go.
well,
at least not with flat earthers. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
this was more for me. This had nothing to do with a flat earther.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't mean it that way.
Oh yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Because let me give you. I was listening to a podcast and it was talking about artificial gravity.
Flat earthers are going to listen to you. I'm just afraid some flat earthers are going to listen to you and pick this shit up.
Oh.
Here we go talking about fucking gravitons.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that really confused me when I was a flat earther, though, because when I heard about it, I went under the assumption that they were describing that's how they figured out the shape of the universe. I now think I'm wrong about using that as a reason why they think that. But when I was listening last night, they were talking about the artificial gravity for what would be considered for interstellar travel. But it just popped in my head and I just remembered about it.
I don't know why you'd need artificial gravity for interstellar travel. I mean, it's not necessary.
Yeah, your body would deteriorate.
Yeah, but what do you call an artificial gravity, though, Sean? What makes it artificial?
Well, the means of, basically. So they were talking about like different methods to, say, get to Mars, and be able to have artificial gravity so that we'd be able to survive it. Survive the long-term travel.
Right. You mean yes, right. So your body, your bone density would decrease.
Yeah.
You didn't have that's what you mean. Yeah, well, that's they have a sort of 2001 spinny thing is the idea.
Yeah, that's what they were kind of piggybacking from. Yeah.
Right, You mean simulating gravity?
Yes. Yeah, well, it's artificial gravity.
Yeah, because yesterday we were talking about gravitons, and I was thinking, hold on, is this someone suggesting they need gravitons to do generate some sort of artificial gravity, as in genuine gravity, not emulating it by having a centrifugal force type?
Well, no, they brought up the graviton as in to figure out. If they had figured out what a graviton was, then they'd be able to make artificial gravity without all these different, futuristic means. We don't have the technology to do it now, but they were saying, they wouldn't need to do all these things if they knew what a graviton was.
Yeah, all the examples of artificial gravity I've seen involve like dwarf star material and spinning it, trying to simulate the mass of the Earth in a localized area, which is way out there.
Yeah, the one thing we really have not been able to do is to emulate mass. That's something we just can't manipulate, create. Well, actually, I just like it. We can actually create mass from energy. Actually, in saying that, so okay, I'll take that back. Actually,
right.
Sorry.
Yeah, isn't that just?
We've been able to equate mass and energy, all right.
Yeah, we can equate it, but I was about to say we couldn't create mass, but in fact we can, because we can indeed convert energy into mass.
It's much harder to go from energy to mass than it is to go from mass to energy.
Indeed, correct.
That's like saying you can build an electrical current, but that electrical current isn't going to weigh anything, right? I'm just trying to understand what you guys just.
Well, E is equal to mc squared, and we know from nuclear the natural process of radioactive decay that a nuclear bomb is the conversion of mass into energy.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
But you need a heck of a lot of energy. I mean, for instance, the most powerful form of energy is a positron and electron. When they come together and annihilate, they give off a great wad of energy. So there are places, I think it was that dreadful film based on that book by the Da Vinci Code author Dan Brown, where they had this little capsule of antimatter and matter, and that's the most powerful source of energy you can get. And we do have positrons. I don't know if you're familiar with the idea. There's a positively charged electron, and there are obviously negatively charged electrons.
Yes.
If you bring them together, they annihilate and just turn into energy. So in fact, we do have places. So there are places you can. They surrounded by some sort of electric field or something. There are just a few sets of a collection of positrons, and in theory, you could turn into a big bomb. But the trouble is, we're only able to collect, just a ridiculously small number of. I don't think it's even 100 of positrons in one place and isolate them. In other words, a bit of antimatter. Isolating a bit of antimatter is the ultimate store of energy, and that's converting energy into. Yes, and when you bring positive, right, so you want to do the equivalent. So I'm saying that's how you get lots of energy out. But you want to do the opposite. You want to create mass from lots of energy, and so you need some massive energy source, like something like antimatter and matter coming together to then create some mass. So it can be done, but it's incredibly difficult. And fusions is no, it's not. No, I take that back. Actually, no, fusions. That's another. No, that's all generating energy again.
Also exothermic.
Yes. I was trying to think, but I'm sure there's something we've done where we've created, yes, well, of course, yes, we have, of course, yes, in things like the CERN collider, when we bash, we get a protons and things up to near the speed of light, so they've got incredible energy, make them bash into one another, and they generate lots of new particles. So there we are actually converting energy into mass, but it's only on a scale of a few particles. So we can do it, but it's very, very difficult.
Right. Well, yeah. I don't know if you'd be able to get it localized enough to actually be in space time, though, would you?
Well, as I say, it's incredibly difficult. You need something like the size of CERN, or other accelerators, of course, will do it as well. You can these particles. You need a particle accelerator. We can create matter from energy, and that's what particle accelerators essentially. They tend to hit a target, they accelerate protons or whatever up to very high speed, give them lots of energy, and then they hit something, and that result of that is to create other new particles. So it's not them breaking apart. So it's not this part. So it's not the proton and something you've given energy to breaking apart. It's actually you've created lots of energy, and that actually creates mass in the form of new particles. So we can do it, but you do.
Yeah, but it probably wouldn't be super dense, would it?
No, that's the problem. It won't be.
Yeah,
so is artificial gravity? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's why all the models I see for artificial gravity involve like dwarf star materials because it's super dense, and they figure if you have it in a localized place, it could simulate the gravity of like maybe a small moon or something.
Say it again.
But
yeah,
it involves taking the dwarf material and usually like spinning it or having it bounce back and forth in order to give an effect of kind of like
well, E is equal to mc squared in theory means you can create whatever mass you like if provided you've got enough energy on the go. And the way we can only do this on a small scale is by giving little particles a great wad of energy, and then you create the conditions in which there'll be a sort of the equivalent of a chemical reaction, but it'll be a nuclear reaction where some particles will, with the amount of energy they've got, will actually mutate, and out of nothing, out of just this energy, you can create particles. But it's you need a particle accelerator to do this.
I still don't see how it would be useful for creating artificial gravity.
No, I don't think it would be very useful for creating artificial gravity at all, no. But we can create mass. The point is we can't substitute for mass. That's the point. So this is why you can't substitute for mass. This is the thing we can't create and emulate.
Well, that's the point behind the graviton, correct? Because we can't. That's
the graviton
theoretical, hypothetical. I mean,
well, the graviton is supposedly the particle that is exchanged by matter that means it attracts one another. So one bit of matter will emit gravitons, and they will interact with another piece of matter, and that's what causes them to attract. That's what a graviton is. It's the
quote-unquote source of gravity.
Yes, it's responsible for the force of gravity, the attraction of matter to other matter.
Okay, so so happy that you just said that. So that's why I brought it up, because now I remember. So they were talking about how they're looking for it in space, and I think it goes along some other.
I thought they were looking for gravitational waves, not actual.
Well, the idea of a graviton they were looking for, or that's where they would. I don't know. Guess they would find it, but wouldn't it make more sense to be that would be in the center of that mass?
Well, gravitons if gravitons exist, they're running amok around us now. You know,
Yeah, they're
contracting us.
particles.
Yes.
I don't see. That's what I don't understand.
So if they exist, they're like light, if you want to think. Yeah,
Mhm.
So the light is packeted into quanta, corpuscles, photons, and gravitons are. So the exchange, for instance, the way that negative, positive and negative things attract one another. It's by the exchange of virtual photons, believe it or not.
I know what you're talking about.
And so gravity is supposedly, to have the same quantum model of gravity, you need this exchange of particles to cause them to attract one another, and these particles are called gravitons.
Yeah,
But they're such.
That would be the quantum of gravity,
Yes.
the graviton.
Okay.
That is the particle.
So you don't need to go into space or anything clever to go in. These gravitons, if we could detect them, and if they do exist, then they're they're in your bedroom at the moment.
Yeah, but then, but
they
what would
space the way they're described, wouldn't it?
But then why? How? And again, I'll say it so everyone is clear. How hypothetical gravitons are. We're not talking as if they exist. How would say a graviton create our gravity that we feel, yet there'd be gravitons around us?
Well, that's like saying, how do virtual photons cause positive entities to attract negative entities? There's an exchange of these virtual particles. In the case of the electrostatic force, there's a exchange of virtual photons, and gravity is just another fundamental force. In theory, if you accept, you reject the general relativity model, and you therefore say there's got to be a particle exchange. The particle exchange that causes the attraction due to mass is the graviton, just as the exchange of virtual photons is the carrier particle, the force carrier particle, as it's called, for the attraction between positive and negative things. So I mean, why positive and negative things attract one another is not fully understood as I understand it, but it is put down to the exchange between things that are positively charged with things that are negatively charged with these virtual photons. They're virtual particles, and I think the gravitons are also virtual particles, though there are some people who say that virtual particles aren't really a thing either. They're just there's some confusion between what a virtual particle is. We've never detected a virtual particle. That's why it's called a virtual phone. But
we have, but we know.
So it's just another. So if you want to just consider it's like what causes the attraction between positive and negative forces. There's a particle exchange. In the case of that, it's virtual, and the case of the gravitational force also has to have a force carrier particle in the quantum model. So it's identical to this. So if you can accept it for positive and negative things attracting one another, then you can, in theory, accept it for mass attracting other mass.
But doesn't gravity have a monopole? Doesn't it have a monopole? So it'd be mass would be its monopole. Doesn't have to have that.
Mass is just an attractive force, so it doesn't need a monopole. I think you're thinking of magnetism.
Well, there is no monopole for magnetism.
Well, in theory, there is. This is one of the theories of the equation of the universe. Is that these magnetic monopoles? They think they should exist, and we should be able to find them.
But in all studies, they haven't.
Correct.
Wait. They've done it with a simulator, I think, or something like that. But it's not. Oh, they've been able to create one, but it's not something that can be found in nature. Is what way they explained it.
I'm not aware they've even created one. I'm not even sure they've actually proved that such a things exist.
No, they have. I just was looking at the paper. I'm gonna find it right now.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'm gonna find it right now.
That's news to me. Okay. You've just informed me of something, if that's the case.
Well, that was kind of why I was questioning on that, because
I didn't think they existed. All these, they hadn't been. They were just theoretical. Okay.
Could it be that you were wrong?
It seems very unlikely. I'm going to go and check now.
No, I'm getting the article.
Unlikely.
No, actually, I'm getting the article right now.
Utterly unlikely.
I'm getting the article right now, and I pass it along to Paul because he's my my resident physicist. So, oh, here it is. Perfect. Copy link. It says, physicists create synthetic magnetic monopole predicted then more. I'll put it in the side chat right now. But the way he's explained to me is that they did, but it's not found in nature, so it does not classify as as a actual monopole.
I think I thought they were just theoretical. They'd never been created by anything. But I'm just checking now.
Do I not have my slow mode on? What the hell? If I don't, I apologize to everyone in the chat. Could have sworn I turned it on. Yeah, slow mode's on. Chat just flying though.
It has been co-opted to describe other things, though. There's something here about condensed matter physics. The term magnetic monopole has been used to describe other things, but I don't think.
And for the people in the chat who don't know what's going on,
I can't find any link of anything being any existing
monopole. No, not in nature. It's
not in nature anywhere.
Well,
I do not believe anything has created it so far. Well, I'm not sure about that.
What would they mean by created a synthetic monopole?
What are you claiming that magnetic?
Whoa. Not claiming. I'm not claiming anything. I'm not claiming anything.
I thought that's what you said you were doing. When I said I didn't think they existed, you said, "Oh no."
No. I was just referring to the article that I had found.
But does that claim that they have been created by science?
It does.
Yes. It says that they created a synthetic monopole.
Shawn, I'm going to go off in a sec. I just want to show you something before I go there.
You're presenting.
I just found an awesome image. See that?
I get it, Dean. There's no shadow.
Yeah, it's special because you can actually see where the shadows are on the ship based on small items. In fact, the front of it is in shade, the left hand side is in light, and then you can have a look at the shadows that are caused from the sun direction, and then determine that hang about there should be shadow on the ocean on the right, but there simply isn't. Cool, huh?
So you're claiming then, Dean, that I will not be able to find
a
shadow on the water of a boat like this.
Actually, I see it, Dean.
Is that what you're claiming? Are you really going to make this claim?
Yeah, that bottom right corner, right off to the side, you can see the shadow. Maybe
very slightly because of the angle, but if we were lower down, you wouldn't. I promise you.
Yeah,
I just found one really quickly, and
yeah, it didn't work for you though.
There is one. Wait a minute.
There's a shadow there. I see it.
Oh. You mean here at the front where the bulbous thing is?
To the right. Well, yeah, but go to the right. Everywhere.
Oh,
so all that in that area, and then towards the ship, that's all shadow right there. I can see the line.
No.
Yeah, if you back out, you can see the line.
I would have said it was shaded, not shadow.
Yeah, this isn't a defined shadow.
In my brain, shading is something you do to something. Shadow is what's is casted by something.
This could be shadow around the bulbous bit on the front, a little bit. But the closer you get to the surface now, and the angle, you start to see the reflections a lot more because of the incidence angle, and that shadow just disappears.
Well, I'm just saying, you just came on saying that there was no shadow.
But wait a minute.
See, Dean, you should have just stopped when you were ahead, man.
Listen to this. If I got a drone and flew above this and looked down, I would absolutely 100% see a shadow. No two ways about it.
Well, we've already established that the shadow does, just because it's on the water, shadows don't exist. We've already established that, Dean. That's why I said before, you should have just stopped while you were ahead, because you just came on saying there was no shadow.
Here's a picture. Here's a picture there. Of a boat with a shadow.
You're not presenting.
No, he didn't present. I'll present it.
Oh, right.
I have it. I have it, Rumpus. No worries. I pulled it up as soon as you put the link. You should be able to see it, Dean.
Oh yeah, no, that is a defined shadow. That.
Indeed. So it's a good job you didn't. I saved you from yourself there.
No. You get down to the surface and look from the other side. You would not see that shadow, and it isn't
wait,
because
but
there isn't.
wouldn't you want to show us that? Yeah. See, you should have stopped while you're ahead, dude.
When was that?
Wait a minute. There's something a little bit more disturbing about this image.
Oh, jeez. Which one?
The one that Rumpus has just fucking posted.
Okay.
Has anybody seen what's on the masts?
As people, yes, yes.
What the shit?
They're about to sailing ship, isn't it? They're about to unfurl the sails.
They have to do that shit manually.
Oh my god!
That's horrific.
What the hell?
A Navy training ship.
That's horrific.
Yeah, that's what they used to do. That's what they.
I just noticed that myself. Wow.
You
post that.
You pull a short straw if you're at the top of those fucking masts, though, don't you? I bet they're not clipped. Are they clipped onto anything?
They're standing on ropes. There were ropes suspended over the yard.
Oh, well, that's fine then, isn't it? But are they clipped onto anything?
I suspect not, actually, because it's too fiddly. I mean, there might be some clips they could run, but certainly, I don't.
It's probably see what they're standing on. It's probably something they're clipped into that right there. Probably, I don't know for sure.
But I think I've heard that they just don't bother. It's just too fiddly to have the clips on.
I could imagine that being something that like they are supposed to. They have harnesses, but I'm pretty sure when you're moving fast and you've probably been there for a while, they're probably not hooking up too often.
It is a training ship, so it's possible in that particular case they may be insisting that they have lots of safety gear on.
Wow. Yeah, I ain't never doing that. I'm sorry.
No, never.
No, never catch me doing that.
Right, I'm going to go to bed, having
doing that these days
shown this ship's shadows business as bollocks.
No, dickhead. When I said the angle of incidence, you wouldn't see it based on a very, very tight angle of incidence.
You said that you was trying to show me pictures of ships and saying that there wasn't a shadow on it.
I'm saying ships
Don't call me a dickhead.
I'm saying ships cast shadow, but on undulating surfaces, like those beams, like those pylons. If you made the water matte, you would see the shadows.
Rumpus, I see what's happening here.
Reflective.
See, Dean is not right too often. So when he is right, he's gonna just beat that dead horse into the ground.
No.
But I must admit that I did find lots of pictures of ships, and the shadows were rather reluctant to put an appearance. Indeed, but I accepted this from the very start that shadows are reluctant to form on water. But I tell you that at the very start. But it's not the primary problem with that picture, because we do see shadows, and the point is that as the angle increases, as they become more as a cross section, the shadows become narrower and narrower, and to the point you don't see them.
I suggest you go back and listen to my opening statement of the 3 things that I say contribute to that, Rumpus, because that was the second one that I said would severely stop you from looking at seeing these.
Okay, where's the order? Okay, then it's an order thing then. Priority.
Yeah. The primary one for me is I can make a shadow disappear on a mirror, but if the mirror's not a true mirror, you can, based on the angle of incidence, bring it back based on being at a higher elevation looking down at it.
But the point is, in that picture, there were shadows on the water, on the first pylon.
Shading. Alan agrees with me here, and he's a photographer, and he calls it shading as well. But
yes.
No, I'll tell you what, Rumpus.
I'll tell you what, we'll have to have a hangout about this then.
We will. No, we absolutely will, because a physicist who probably spends 99% of the time in his bedroom dreaming about particles that may or may not fucking exist is not the same as a visual effects artist that creates wonderful things, or a photographer that goes out and observes them. And you've got those 2 other types of people saying this is shading and not direct shadow.
And I know my image analysis skills are quite reasonable, and I know about light and how it creates shadows and things.
Go get me some IOR fucking maximums, please.
Anyway, I'm going to go to bed on the showing a shadow on the ship,
Yes, see you later, bud.
Thank you, Rumpus.
That's right. Bye, Dean.
Oh, Rumpus, before you go, I never got to talk to you. Did you enjoy the Rumpus challenge?
I did see the bit where you presented the thing. I thought it was quite fun. Now, what happened to Carlos? Because Carlos actually made an effort to get the angle right, the lighting right, and the thing right. And so he made the best photographic. He had the most well-defined image and matched mine, and he wasn't participating, which is
No, he was in it. He was in it. It's just when I presented on my OBS, I forgot to put it on there. But
oh my god!
I'll show everyone the. I sent an email or messages out to a few people, and they picked it for me. I didn't want to be the one that had to pick. So if there was any issues, I wouldn't be blamed
no, I think
for
there
it.
was some. I think presumably you. I think made a rude image of me saying I was talking crap or something. I think someone made one.
Oh no. Oh
was that you or
the original picture of your avatar that I had came from your the soundboard that guy made of you. And that was the only one I had. That was the only one I had. Oh, there's a Rumpus soundboard. It's awesome.
Yes, I've heard of this. Yes. Okay. Well, anyway, you chose to present it, so yes, that was quite rude. So I didn't think I didn't care for that particularly. But
I apologize.
But other than that, yes, it did seem to be quite a lot of fun, and I thought I was quite impressed to see that Channel Q made an effort as well to do it.
It was supposed to be lighthearted, but I do apologize on that image.
It was lighthearted. I took it in generally a good spirit, and I thought, but Channel Q making her dress red of the festival, that was quite fun. I thought I was quite impressed with Pippa's effort as well. She made a real effort, I think, actually to get a red dress on, do a selfie and things. And I know the best one was though they what was the one he won in the end? The guy. That was quite a good effort.
Tesla, Apple, and I'm pretty sure, was it that one, the one with the apple, or the other one was a Menace?
No, the other. No, who was the guy? I forgot his name now. Bloody hell, I confuse him with Mac. No, not.
It
was another the guy did quite a good job with the red thing. Oh, you gave him the win. You gave
Menace to sobriety.
That wasn't the name he had on him. Yeah. With quite cropped hair, crew cut hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
right. Okay. Yeah, I thought I couldn't understand why Carlos wasn't in there, but anyway, never mind.
No, he was in the running. I just effed up and didn't put it on the OBS because I had everything on slide or on images, but. Yeah, everyone knows who Carlos is.
It was quite fun. No, Shawn, I think you did mean it generally well intended, so that was kind of you. You could have made it more abusive, and you didn't.
So no, it wasn't meant to be. That the image that I had of you up there was literally like I hadn't seen you on Jose, so I didn't have a screenshot of you, and I needed to get it up there. But I have one, and now and that one will be deleted. I didn't mean any ill will about that at all.
I didn't think you did. Yes.
Good Lord, Shawn, do you know how long it's been since I've been in a room with Rumpus? I think the last time I was in a room with Rumpus was like MK's room or something.
Yes, actually, Gary, I do remember you being in the.
Rumpus. I just wish if you slowed down a half bit, Rumpus, it would be perfect.
Hold on, I never went to I've never been in Nadia's hangouts.
You used to be in Nadia's room all the time, didn't you?
No, you got me confused with someone else.
Huh?
I think I may have gone on once. Ever.
Really?
There's Carlos.
Well, you remember she used to run those 24-hour hangouts just like.
No, I never did that. No, you've got me confused with someone else now.
Hello.
I've never been in a 24-hour hangout. I've only once been on Nadia's hangout. And you've got me. You.
Well, I know
I
you
do
were.
Recognize your image. I do recognize your image. But you've obviously thinking I've been around more than I have.
Were you in the Great Debate community, Rumpus?
Yes.
That's probably where it is then.
I know. I know I've seen you on JD Kane's like a million times.
Yes, that's right. JD Kane's. Yes, so JD Kane's.
Rumpus, I might have been mistaken by you.
Yeah, that's a good effort.
His twin brother.
Yeah, that's right. Apparently, when we're together, Carlos? Apparently, we're in the same place, and so we keep just swapping beards. Basically, I think is what happens when we're both chatting. I acquire a beard, or vice versa.
I'm going to be doing another challenge, but I got to figure out who I'm going to do it for.
What's the challenge?
I'm not sure yet. I got to find somebody first. It'll be the same type. Same type of challenge.
Well-defined. Yeah, need someone with a well-defined.
Like if Rumpus changed his avatar, the world would flip over.
Well, Dean has got his fake. He's got that avatar of himself, which is quite good.
Yeah, he's sparing us from the reality of his face.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, he's here. Hey, Dean. I didn't see you.
Hey, Dean, did you make that model too?
I'll give you a C- for acting fucking ability there, Carlos.
Oh dang!
No,
wow.
How long ago was that photo though that you've got there?
It's a good few years now, I must admit.
What's
Yeah.
a good few years?
How old were you then?
How was on that photo?
Yeah, you're not allowed to change it though.
I must admit, people do say that I look a lot younger than I am.
Well, dang it, they had color photography back then. Holy crap!
But I'm not particularly old. Well,
you're not Shawn kind of old, are you?
Shawn Hawkins.
Yeah,
no,
Shawn Hawkins.
No, I'm quite definitely no, I'm not like Shawn.
Yeah, so I have adopted Shawn as my grandpa now. He's a cool grandpa.
Ooh, a Shawn Hawkins contest.
Yeah, yes,
there you go. Done.
What's gonna be the format of the contest?
I don't know.
It's a video contest.
Yes, it has to be.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it has to be a video contest. It has to be. There it is.
Yes, that rant he did with me and
beautiful. So many people don't know what happened. Hang on. So you guys were doing this, right? And I think I had left for a while, but I was doing something, blah blah blah. And Dean Skypes me out of nowhere, and he goes, "Get in here now." I got in there, and all I heard was Shawn yelling, and you talking. I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" I couldn't do anything but hit mute and record and just sit back and enjoy.
Yep. I haven't been in a hangout that before or since. I must admit that was a bit of a shouty one. I haven't experienced quite such a shouting match ever in my life as that one.
Shawn hasn't been around much recently. He's been doing his own thing.
He's trying to figure out OBS and stuff.
Yes, I think he does need to calm down a bit.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I tried to help him. I know he's having problems with his stream. I was trying to help him, but he has to share his screen with me for me to help him out with the OBS because he's also using Streamlab, and I hate Streamlab. I don't think it's good at all to use for streaming and everything. That's kind of why he's been he's kind of frustrated with it right now.
You just use OBS, do you?
Yeah.
I think the best way to go is you just go on Hangouts and then just take your webcam and point it at your screen. You just can't go wrong with that. Put the speakers all the way up. That way the audio comes through. Yeah,
that's how you do it.
That's how you do it. Old school. That's how NASA gets to fake the stuff. You film a monitor, you can't find the harnesses and the ropes. #Jeranism.
Did he just do that too? God damn it! But I like Jeranism. I mean, he kind of takes the work away. He makes it so Globers don't have to do too much.
Yeah, well, I was sending some super chats on his stream today because him and Mr. Ido Landucci #Horizon that they were talking about satellites. They didn't have a freaking clue, and I sent them a super chat and I said, "Hey, can somebody explain how come the satellite's Doppler shift under signal matches the orbital velocity?" And Ido said, "Well, if you have a computer software, the computer software just makes up numbers, and you don't have to know anything else, and you can be fooled." And it's like, okay, there goes $2 wasted.
Talk to him, Carlos.
Do what?
Talk to him.
Alex is a flat earther.
But and then everybody on the chat was like, "Carlos, I've never looked into the flat Earth. Have you looked into high altitude balloons? Have you looked into flat Earth?" And I'm going like, "Dude, I've been looking at this since 2015." I'm like, "Y'all got nothing." But anyway, everybody in the chat thought that I was a pagan because my name says Carlos Pagan, and that I was into paganism, and I didn't believe in that creator. And oh my gosh, it was just a mess. So I got out of there before Karen B booted me. So.
Oh jeez.
Wait,
you've been over 24/7? That's a bad idea. I'm too scared to go over there.
And Ace McCloud too was trolling me like, "Oh, you don't know, you don't know what you're talking about." And I'm going like, I have fabricated antennas. I have tracked satellites. I had, and I have looked into this. He's like, "Oh, you're lying. You're a liar." I'm going like, okay. Anyway.
Yeah, so, Ace is a special breed of people.
I don't understand. Yeah. So somebody in the chat said, "You need to make a video of you pointing at different parts of the sky where the supposed satellites are, and I'm going, deal,
Hmm.
will do.
Oh, Carlos, quick
I'm about
thing,
to show a
Carlos.
satellite right now. Someone said,
Quick.
"Show me a satellite,"
Just
so
team.
I'm going to show it right now.
Yeah, did he get my Skype message?
Yes, the audio file.
Oh no. That someone was on. I listened to you on Jose's show, and a few other people discussing shit with a guy that said, you know, these satellite images or mappings of the Earth have got seams and you can see them.
Oh yeah, I was talking to them last night. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everybody missed the fact that no software could ever display a 300 megapixel image. So what it does is it divides it up into data chunks and it calls them tiles. And now it can adaptively load and stream tiles based on where you're looking at it. And it can stream
Right.
at different levels of detail. Hence, you will see seams until it loads in the full resolution that are, you know, equal and relational to each other. And no one
Right, because
mentioned that.
yeah, because if you have, for example, you're looking at 4 tiles in the screen, in one of the tiles you usually show in the low resolution besides the high resolution, there's gonna be a difference because of the
Yeah, now no one mentioned this, and the daft
Yeah,
thing
well-
is, this was very apparent about 4 years ago in Google Maps on satellites, but they
Right.
redid their streaming algorithm to make it so that it's adaptive and
Gotcha.
it streams universally and it streams bigger than the screen buffer as well.
Well, I was trying to stay intellectually honest because I have not looked at the website he was looking at. He tried to share, the quality was bad, and I said I will take your word for it. I said, but at the end of the day, if you say there are seams, I said, what does that mean? And he, he kept saying that it means it's fake. Even though I told him, I said, do you think that that satellite has a sensor of the size of that whole, image, And he said, yeah, sure. That what people say. I said, who's people? Who's they? They? Who's they? So it was just a back and forward. It was a mess. But yeah, you should have been there.
Yeah, no, I was listening to it this morning, and I'm there like, no, it's every even any game that you play, like Grand Theft Auto, has a tile streaming engine, and when it's just
Right.
a tile, that tile doesn't actually relate to a bathroom tile or anything 2D either. It's a segment of data that it's divided up into a grid,
Yeah.
so that you can do adaptive. You can do what you call adaptive level of detail and predictive streaming, because you cannot load the whole thing at once. It's that simple.
It's the same reason when somebody's doing a, let's say they're modeling a city in 3D where an event's happening. The further the objects or buildings are in the background, the less quality they're going to have because it's not required.
Yeah, that's adaptive level of detail.
Exactly. So anyway, what do I know? I just point satellites to the sky. Satellite dishes, that is.
Well, yeah, but they're just, a computer just gives you numbers, so it's just.
Oh, dude, I was like, come on, Ito Landucci. Like, he knows his craft. He knows about video. But he's like, oh, you got the computer. That computer, you don't have to know. You don't have to know. It would just give you numbers. And I'm going like, shut up, dude. You don't know what you're talking about. But anyway.
But just tell him. Go out and get a radio receiver like you said, and just read the open source fucking signal, because it's open source.
But they won't, Jaronison won't have me on Globe Busters. He won't, I've actually reached out to Iro Landucci. He won't answer me.
I can actually link you right now to about 4 or 5 open source data interpreters for GPS satellite data.
Well, I got some open source software for the NOAA satellites, and they decode the slow scanning line, and so you can download the file or do it live, and then you put it into the software, and it just generates an image, and of course it corrects for the Doppler shift. If you have a little bit, it'll correct it, and yeah, it'll tell you, it'll show you the image.
Don't tell any flat earthers, but the Galileo satellite network suffered a unprecedented 2-day outage, and there's yet to be an explanation why. Now, where
On the Galileo?
Yeah. So the positioning network that is the brand new one that we're going to bring online in Europe. It is live doing certain things, or has been live for about 5 years doing tests and things, but it completely had a blackout where the the service bulletin was affected satellites all, and they just weren't responsive for 2 days.
Wow. Well, that's where you have multiple antennas and you use multiple systems. Can't rely just on one. But anyway, did you see what I was working on that live stream with Jose last night? You see that?
I did. I was only listening to the audio. I did look once or twice. It looked like you were pulling apart a controller or something.
Yeah, it's a DJI Phantom 3 Pro. I'm taking apart all the buttons and everything, the inner workings. I'm gonna put it into a Pelican case and permanently mount it in there. So when you open it, you're gonna see the controls, and I'm gonna put some different buttons and momentary toggle switches and stuff like that, and then put a permanent tablet on the lid. So it's gonna be pretty slick.
Hey, I have a question, Carlos. You know the Mavics?
Oh yeah.
Okay, you know the miniature ones they make now?
Miniature Mavics.
Yeah, they're like E858 or whatever the hell.
Oh, you're talking about E-Sheen?
Yeah.
E-Sheen toy ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you upgrade the engines, the motors in those, and arms?
Oh, definitely. I've actually had an idea of buying one and then putting some brushless motors, and then putting a flight controller with GPS and a barometer, altitude hold, and yeah, I know that can be done.
I need to hit you up. Well, I need to hit you up on the side because I just got one, and obviously the second the wind blows a mile an hour, you know what happens to it. So I want to upgrade it. It needs some beef behind it, obviously.
Well, have you ever soldered anything?
Oh yeah. I know how to solder.
Okay. Well, I will send you some links of some motors and some flight controllers.
Yeah.
So basically, you're gonna put the insides of what's called a tiny whoop, and you probably want to keep the camera module because it is 720p onboard recording.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to put another camera for FPV. Well, I guess you can use the same one. But anyway, we'll get it done.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, definitely.
Just a really quick question: how do you guys spell? You know when you take off the connections on a circuit board to a chip and then you put it back on, you're performing the action that you just said. How do you spell that word?
SOLDER.
So it has got an L in it.
Hey, I know 2 languages barely, and I get by. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, it should be solder. It should be solder, right?
Yeah, we all say solder, but you guys say solder, and it's like
solder. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, this is the South.
Because we there is such a thing as sodomy, and it just sounds way too close to that. Whereas solder.
Well, we just don't add the "me" at the end of it.
I already say aluminium, so I really should start saying solder, so people look at me even more weird.
Yeah. Well, you get away with it. You're fine. You'll get away with it.
That's right. I get away with it since I'm Mexican and I do graffiti.
Shawn, you should have just got the Mavic 2 Pro.
Yeah, because I got freaking $1,500 or more. It's more than that actually.
Right. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you later. I'll catch you later, guys. And I'm glad, Shawn, that you.
I was just about to thank you. I was just about to. Don't ruin it.
Bye bye.
But I do appreciate it. Thanks, Dean.
All right. Bye bye.
Same here. I gotta go as well. So good night, guys.
All right, Alan. Have a good one.
See you, Alan.
So who got a Mavic 2?
I don't have one yet, but I'm about to get one for scenery.
Oh, for scenery.
Yeah.
He's a flat earther.
Oh, you want to capture that fading out sun, huh?
No, that's separate. I just do it just to do it.
Oh, okay.
That's being a flat earther as well. he has no reason. Just does it because it sounds cool.
Yeah, when I saw those miniature Mavic clones, I was like, man, I said I need to beef that up and put some good motors and a good battery on it and GPS, and they'll be like, this is the DJI Mavic Mini.
Yeah, because I've flown it maybe 5 times outside. And from the very first flight, I knew I needed to be upgraded because I had a good 2 mile an hour gust, constant gust, or it was happening nonstop. But it was like every time it'd come in, it would be like the quadcopter just take off, and it'd be 40 feet further down than I wanted it to be, and I was basically just fighting the wind the whole time. So I want to beef it up so I don't have to do all that.
Yeah, that's just altitude hold, right? It'll hold its altitude, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, see the altitude hold, it's just like having a hockey puck. And so if you push it, it's just gonna keep going.
Yep.
To whatever you pushed it. Same with that. So yeah, once you get some GPS in there, man, it'll do a pretty good job. Plus some better motors, some brushless.
Oh yeah. So I was remembering you were showing us some of the builds you had, and the first thing I thought about was like, just all the different upgrades you can do to them. Like I used to do rock crawling, but with RC trucks. So I know that you can take a shell. All this thing is to me is a shell right now. So.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you might have to do some other gluing.
Oh yeah.
You're definitely gonna have some gluing to be able to mount the brushless motors, because you're gonna have to have 2 screws or 4 screws mounting.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna have to do some modification to the arms, and after that, then you should be good.
Yeah, that's the fun part.
So
the only because like right now I have already got the parts, but I'm gonna put the I had a 2.4 not a better, basically I got a better antenna. And I gotta solder all that up and stuff, so I gotta go online and see.
Solder or solder?
Solder or whatever. I don't even see it. No, solder. Solder with an L.
Solder.
I'm not trying to remember that.
Yeah, I know. Who cares about Dean? He's going anyway. So.
Yeah, for real.
Solder.
He's probably just listening. Who cares?
How much can you extend the battery life on a? Because I know the highest they give you out of the factory is 32 minutes, which is the Mavic 2 Pro. But there has to be a way you can extend it to at least.
Well, here's the thing. There's got to be a sweet spot in between battery capacity and weight. Mm-hmm. So the more capacity, the more weight, and there's a point where you start losing efficiency because of the weight, even though you have capacity. So you would have to somehow either find a way to get rid of weight, or and it's really hard for you to get a different battery, because those are the quote unquote intelligent batteries. So they do communicate with the craft, so you can see how many cycles you've ran it. You can change settings on it. You can set it to discharge after 3 days of being full charge without use. So that's
What about
the best thing you can? Huh?
I was gonna say, what about upgrading the motors?
Well,
I mean, upgrade the motors to be able to to add another battery.
Same with the motors. By the time you beef your motor, but it's pulling more current, and but so it's I don't know. Yeah, they've actually have been. You would think anyway that they've got just the right formula of what kind of motors to put in. So the best thing to do is either find some really good performance propellers, and reduce some weight, and avoid windy conditions, and very calculated movements. Nothing. Don't
you don't want to be erratic.
Floor it. Don't floor it on that throttle. You just slowly throttle up, and very calculated slow movements. Same way you would do with a vehicle. If you just kind of drive it like a grandma, you have good gas mileage. But if you drive like a British guy, I mean, yeah.
Jeez.
So anyway, I don't know what's wrong with me today.
No, because that solves it. Because that means tonight I'm probably going to do something stupid with this drone tonight. Because what I want to do is I want to do the sunset thing. Problem is well, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, Carlos. The second I get about 40 feet up, there's no point. But I can get it to go up another 30 feet from that. But at that point, then I lose control, and it wants to. Then the wind takes it until it dies out on me. So
right. So it doesn't have a stabilized camera, and then the sensor, it's not the best, and then you're fighting. So and then you have low light. So that's going to introduce noise and blur.
Yeah.
So by the time you even stabilize that video, then
out there,
yeah.
So
you just need to go on Facebook or go on Craigslist or whatever, and freaking spend $300 on on a Phantom 3 standard.
Phantom 3 standard.
Yeah. Phantom 3 standard is 1080p. If you find the Phantom 3 4K, then that one's going to be just about same price, almost 300, 400 bucks used, and that's all you need.
And you can find it for like 300, you said, or is that like the?
Yeah, if you go to eBay, you probably can find a Phantom 3 standard for about 300 bucks. Or look at your local, like what's it called, Craigslist or Facebook Market, and you gotta be able to find that.
All right, cool. Yeah, definitely do that.
It's a good look. DJI, even though this Phantom 3 is about 3 years old platform, I still got mine. It's a really, really stable platform. That's like when they figured it out, how to get the gimbal and the camera, right. After that, they just started, going crazy with 4K and just adding, now we can fold the drone, and now the drone can follow you. But that's when they got the camera right, and the civilization and the flight and everything. So it's you get the best for the money right there.
Yeah, and like I said, I did the art thing. So once things go out of date anyway, you get to just play with them anyway. They become a shell. Right. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm definitely gonna look into that for this. Right, actually tonight I'm gonna look into it. I still want to talk to you about upgrading, because I may give this one to my son then if I get the Phantom.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I want him to be able to fly outside.
Yeah, you still be able to, like, if you do that conversion to that little mini Mavic, whatever, you learn, you'll be able to understand the basics of the brushless motors and what's it called, speed controllers and all that massive flight controllers. At one point you'll have to plug in that flight controller to the computer just to program it to a radio. And after that, then enough to be able to fix it and make other ones. But anyway,
well, the systems are the systems are the same thing as the RC, like RC trucks and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, did you use brush motors with those cars or what?
Yeah, I use brush, but I used to do like the track racing, so I know the brushless motors. I know that. I know how they work.
Yeah, the only difference with multi-rotors, quadcopters, drones, whatever you call them, is that the flight controller, you can use it straight out of the box or bag connected to a radio receiver, but you'd always want to go and connect it to the computer and use, the different. You can use either Betaflight or Lever Pilot. There's other software in there, so you flash the flight controller to whatever software they have, and then you can set up. You can go ahead and program, what what's it called, the flight modes, your GPS and stuff. It's a lot of help online too.
Okay,
It's kind of overwhelming at the beginning, but once you hook it up to the computer and you drop a programming and you unplug it and you get your battery and you actually see it flying, you get that confidence and you're like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
But what, do you have a radio transmitter and receiver already?
No, not yet.
Yeah, you probably want to get one. But I'll tell you what, I'll send you a bunch of links to all the stuff that you'll be interested in, and then you'll see this. You just research on YouTube.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
See what you need to get. But once you get in, man, and you have a receiver and a transmitter, then basically all you have to do is buy more receivers and then put it in different drones. You already have a platform, so.
Yeah. Okay.
So all you gotta do is program the remote to different models. So Model 1, Aircraft 2, Aircraft 3.
Yeah.
So you just name them, and you can just switch around. You don't have to have a remote for each little drone you have. So
yeah, that's what I need to do. Again, actually, I got a buddy of mine that has one that I could probably get. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that works. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
So. Yeah, I'll send you that stuff. It'll come to you since you actually have some experience on that. So
yeah.
But I tell people, you want to get into drones and you don't want to go get you a Phantom 3 standard, and like people are selling it like crazy because they haven't flown it in probably years, and they want to get some cash. And originally was $500, so you normally find it about $300 or less.
Yeah. So. Okay. Perfect. And that
I know
one's
Carlos got like an army of drones, and he's
he
probably
does.
planning to take over the world.
I do actually. No, I'm not gonna take over the world. Just track down flat earthers
Oh,
and just broadcast from 5G radio frequency and fry their brain,
nice.
especially the mind of God.
He has
Yeah.
no brain.
Well, dang it.
Yeah, because the Mavericks, those things are freaking like almost $1,500. I looked at that, I was like, there's no way in hell I'm buying one of those.
That's what I'm saying. Get you a Pylon 3, man. You get to learn the DJI software, and you'll fall in love. And you might not even get another one. You just stay with that one. See, I still got my Pylon 3 Advanced, which is just the only difference between the Advanced and the Pro is about $400 at the time. And it's just the Advanced is 1080p, actually 2K, and if the Pro is 4K. So basically, I just gave up some video quality. But a friend of mine gave me his Crash Pylon 3 Pro, like I was telling you, and that's the one I'm rebuilding and putting all this.
In this one, I can interchange a lot, right? Like it's not a. Because I was watching a thing YouTube last night, and a guy was saying that the Mavics are there's a lot of stuff you can't change out because it's integrated with the system. But I'm not 100% on everything. Like I said, I'm just learning these things. I don't fucking fly drones. I just decided to get it out of nowhere, so that's why I'm a little confused. Like I understand the ECE, the motors, and all that kind of stuff, speed controller, but I just I know there is a difference, and in configurations and stuff like that.
In between what? In between the Mavic Pro and the Phantoms?
Oh, I'm just saying in general. I mean, it's in general between flying and RC.
Yeah, they're not modular. They're everything is integrated. The only thing that's modular is the batteries, because you can swap out the batteries.
Okay.
But the Phantom 3, but really it's not modular. I mean, you can swap out a motor if you burn a motor. But everything's like one motherboard.
Yeah.
And then you have a GPS module / antenna, and then you have the MIMS, which is for the orientation. It has a camera, and it has sonar in the bottom. So that's why I was able to keep his orientation when there's no GPS indoors.
Yeah.
And then of course you have the camera with the gimbal. Those are the only things that you can replace.
Okay, so
basically,
so there's nothing really to replace it, really. You're not
really.
Okay.
Right. You can't really do any. I mean, you could. There's nothing for you to modify except for maybe the lens on the camera, which is what I'm doing with mine, and it's not even meant to be done. But I'm, the MacGyver I am. I'm just jerry rigging it.
Well, then I'll probably just get this, because I'm gonna look it up and try to find one, and I'll just use the mini Mav as my fun toy to mess with for right now.
Oh heck yeah. Yeah, the good thing, like I said, about DJI is the platform is reliable. You don't have to go and hook it up to a computer, program it, and figure stuff out. No, you get it out, you charge the battery, you get the software, it flies, it's GPS. It'll land back where it took off from if the battery dies on your remote, or if the battery gets low. Even if your remote just falls to the ground, breaks into pieces, the drone will say, "Well, I can't receive signal from the remote. I'm gonna go back home," and it'll go land back by itself. So it's very little room for mistakes, unless you just ram it into a tree.
Yeah. No, I'm still new to it, so I make sure I find the biggest open field I can, which only means I have to walk a lot further. But
here's the best advice I can give you. Look around and see what the highest structure tree is, and make sure you're about 30 feet, 20 feet higher than that, and then you can fly everywhere you go, anywhere you want. That's it. You do that. I know. I'm just saying. Believe me. How many? A lot of people just don't. You go up and make sure you put the camera straight, and make sure that everything else is under the horizon. Because of perspective, whatever. And then you're good to go. So.
Well, yeah, I know. I've already trained myself. Like this it has an onboard camera, that you can do the whole app and all that good stuff. But I figured it would be better for me to learn to fly it visually before I look down.
Yeah,
You know,
line
at
of
my
sight.
at
Yeah,
the
line of
yeah.
sight. Land the controller. Land the everything, and then you start using POV point of view or FPV flying point of view, and then just get efficient with that. All I
Yeah.
can say is that if you're using FPV, using the point of view of the camera, don't go backwards or sideways until
Yeah.
until you're good, because you can't see left, right, or behind you. So a lot of people will start flying backwards, and those are the people who make it to the drone fail compilations.
Yes. Yeah, I don't want to.
So
I don't want to fail. That'd be the bad part.
well, yeah, I mean, you already did. You were a flat earther for a few months. So you kind of
Jesus.
failed already. So.
Well, hey, here's the thing. What's worse, being a
Dang,
what are
I'm
you
on
laughing
fire.
at? What are you laughing at, Jay? You are a flat earther.
You are a midget.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is it worse to have been a flat earther, or be a glober who continues to be in this form?
To be a Shawn.
Yeah.
I guess it is. I guess it is worse to be Nathan Oakley. That's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't get any worse than that.
At this point, I don't know.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna get out of here now. I'm kind of.
Hey, I tell you what. Hang on. I tell you what's worse. To give somebody a P900 and that person becomes a Glober. There you go. That's what's worse. Hashtag Jaren.
Great job, Jaren.
Dang, I'm on fire today.
I'm telling you right now. I think Jaren. He's not as to me. He doesn't seem so much out there in the presence of everyone. But I think he's better. He's a better Glober than Ranty is.
Really?
Oh yeah, because space is real. Transits. I mean, everything he says is pretty much about being a globe. That documentary, Ranty, like his observations are definitely for the globe, but he is Ranty, so he's like Nathan 2, or he's beginning to be Nathan 2.
It was like that dude yesterday. He kept saying, "One, I know there's low Earth orbit satellites, but he's arguing that the Epic and the Discover are fake." I'm like, dude,
yeah,
stop saying satellites.
Well, that was the other thing. Last night, I got parts of Jose's hangout last night, and someone was talking about the hell were they talking about? I completely forgot now. Everything I was going to say too. It was something. Oh wait, nope. Yeah, it didn't come back. Never mind. I'll go back and probably bring it up next time. But someone was. It's a topic that someone's always talking about, but it doesn't make sense to me. It's kind of like this isn't it, but it's like the Riley thing where they're sitting there arguing that gravity isn't a force, but they're doing it under the.
Is it the one about the rainbow and the light? And the
yes.
moon?
Okay. Wait. No.
Okay.
Fuck.
Oh,
I think it was. I remember hearing it. Nope. Yeah, I lost it again. I'll go back into Jose's stream. It was towards the end, so I know where I'll find it.
Your mind is scattered, man.
Dude, I'm tired. I told you, after fucking 3 hours of streaming, it drains me. It sucks. That, and also I smoked a half a blunt, so.
Holy moly, you should be relaxed.
Oh, I am. I just don't remember anything.
Oh, dang. See, I knew that stuff messes you up.
No, I'm good. Man, it was yesterday.
I'm good. He's like, I'm good. Hang on, what's you talking about?
Well, remember, I just got done talking to you about other things that have nothing to do with the top, flat Earth globe thing. So that wasn't in my brain.
Building 7, dude.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Sorry.
That was insane. No, I don't care. You can talk about it. Just Pete Shea's not allowed to talk about 9/11. That's it. That's the only rule. I'll talk about it all day.
Oh, Timmy Osman, man. I pissed him off. I said, hey, man, no one cares about Building 7.
Well, that's the thing. Realistically, no one does. Like, the thing is that argument about Building 7 comes from either not knowing how things work or assuming, or it's weird. But there is video evidence of that building. The ceiling, the inside of that building had collapsed far before you see the building come down, and people don't realize that.
Yeah, well, he's just so monotone, and he's just such a troll, man. It's like, dude, I don't get what your point is. Like, he's intelligent, but
I
Anyway.
think he's been in the flat Earth game too long. He said everything so many times. That's why.
Yeah, well, plus he's been smoking too many blunts too.
No, he smokes bong loads. I don't do bong loads.
Bong loads.
Yeah, he's a bong guy. I don't smoke out of a bong. I got kids. I got responsibilities.
I thought you say he smokes dongs. I'm like,
oh no,
well,
I didn't say that. That's going too far. No, I didn't say all that.
Okay, well, that's what I heard.
Well, that's that's the translation in language. I give
it. Well, he just needs to have a global worship.
Oh, jeez. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Anybody got anything to share? Got any uploads?
Aristarchus.
Aristarchus. Oh shit.
There you go. Dang. See how many trends I started? I started Aristarchus. Started the whole Brumpus thing.
Well, we're gonna do it.
What have I done?
I'm gonna do the Shawn Hawkins challenge next, but I got to figure out the parameters of it first and everything. So it's gonna be a good one though.
Hey, what?
I actually have an idea for it. I just don't want to say it because I'm pretty sure someone else will do it if I do. But I'm gonna you
do it and then there you go.
Well, the thing is I can't do that. It'd be unfair. I can't tell someone else to do it and then have them enter it. I'll figure it out.
I guess so.
I think I'll do an introduction of the Shawn Hawkins challenge with my idea. It'll be better. I got it. Cool.
Yeah, I think you got to do like maybe a marathon thing, Sean. Just an invitational free for all.
I should
get Rumpus, Mind of God, Peach J.
Oh gosh,
Dean.
There's not enough time in the world to have those in one room.
Yeah,
no, just turn it on, walk away, and see what the fuck happens.
Mm-hmm.
And the last man standing wins.
Yes. Oh my God, that's awesome. That's exactly.
You have to
the most stubborn-minded people we know. Flat Earth Data's got to be there.
Yo, mama.
Flat Earth cage match. Call it that.
Yeah.
Flat Earth Data, Slick.
Lewis. Like one of those Mr. Beast challenges. The last one there wins.
Yeah.
I'll call it Hangout a Mania.
Hey, yo, I was talking to some kids today. This is kind of off topic, but we were talking about ideas and stuff.
Awesome.
But I said, you rednecks, they're kind of, they're pretty southern. I was like, man, y'all need to start a YouTube channel like Dude Perfect, but like redneck style. And I was like, what should we call it? And I just like literally right up came to mind. I said, I know what we should call it. We should call it, hey, yo, watch this. Every time you do something, you just yell, hey, yo, watch this. That'd be awesome. Yeah. So, anyway, sorry.
Hey, Blue, that's my next project. That's the next one. Get the Shawn Hawkins local thing challenge. Hangout Mania. The most that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start asking people who are the most stubborn people you can think of, and then I'll get them. And then it doesn't have to be about a topic. You just put them in a hangout.
Just put them in a room and let them go.
That's like you put two rats in one cage. Like only one comes out, but fatter than the got in there because they ate the other one. Yeah.
Oh, that's so. That's what
Rumpus can't make it past 15 seconds without saying something.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, Rumpus and Pete Shea would just do nothing but talk over the top of each other.
Well, let me talk. Now, let me say something.
Yeah, so for a while now, that's what I'll do. I'll start taking names for the Hangout and Mania challenge. Oh, this is gonna be awesome. You're a genius, Blue.
All right. Shawn G, if I start making content on my own on a new channel, will you promote me?
Oh, absolutely.
Cool. Because I'm getting tired of just showing up empty-handed to these things, and I'm ready to just actually create content. And every time somebody brings something stupid like there's no satellites or like you can't have a rainbow with reflected light, and all we have to do is pull up my videos and say, all right,
absolutely,
direct your attention to a screen one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hey, Carlos, anyway. Absolutely. anytime you want.
Excellent.
And if you want to present anything, you got a platform for it here too.
I thought about making the videos and then like once they're made and do a presentation, like a very condensed presentation, and then anybody wanted to actually watch a video, they just throw the link or whatever. Because so many people have been requested, well, go out there, do it. You should make a video, whatever. And I just need to bite the bullet and do it. So
yeah, you should, man. Yeah. Once you just gotta start doing it. Once you start doing it, you start getting a hang of it. The only hard part for me is editing. Trust me.
Getting the ball rolling. Oh well, editing is what I do the best. It's just I have a hard time like writing a script and sticking to it. You know, being that English is my second language.
I don't script.
Yeah, I kind of ramble a lot. So
you ramble? You think you ramble? I ramble.
Yeah, I forgot I was talking to you. But if you look at this account that I have, I actually did start a channel about 2 or 3 years ago, and actually have some content in there. But after they took away monetization and they wanted me to have 1,000 subscribers, I got disencouraged. But so that's my thing. If I can reach 1,000 real quick, then I'll be able to do live streams and be able to get some revenue going.
Well, you can live stream before the 1,000. It's just
okay. So I'm kind of counting on my friends over here on the YouTube side.
100%.
So you guys can promote me.
Oh, 1,000% I will. No problem.
Because I have a question. How the heck did Bob the Science Guy get freaking 15,000 subs already?
I wish I knew.
He is good. He does put out content. So.
Yeah, see, it's weird. I'm definitely not the one to ask that question because my situation it's very odd. So I get for my sub count, I get good live stream views, but my upload views are shit, complete shit, and it doesn't make sense. But at the same time, I don't put out a lot of uploads like that. Like I'm not putting out these real technical that explain much of how things work. So I get that part, but for me, that's why I pretty much I do little edits and I try to do this here and there to have for my OBS and stuff. But I'm a live streamer. I'm not an uploader. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When Bob the Science Guy had his face reveal, it's kind of a disappointment for me because I was picturing somebody like Mario. Just his old jolly old dude. Hi everybody, greetings from Northern Michigan. Last video, and he just, but then I see him as this big, tall dude with the nice little bald spot in the front.
Well, that's the other thing. He speaks better than I do when it comes to that. Like
very eloquent, very eloquent.
Yeah, so like when we're doing this, it is definitely more of a hangout. You know what I mean? So I don't have to.
Right.
And that's where I think I get away with it. But when it comes down to the uploads, and that's my problem with uploading stuff. What I do is I probably have at least 50 uploads that have good information in it. The problem is that it has no audio, like no explanation.
Right.
The second I hear my voice, I delete it. I can't edit it. Yeah. I can't do. I hate hearing myself.
Well, it's like I also don't want to make videos and chop it up to fix the the speech, and then you end up with these stupid videos where it just cut up 8,000 times.
Yeah, that's what happens to me.
That's so YouTube, like even if big people do that, I'm going like that just doesn't look good. So me coming from industrial video production, I just can't make myself do that. Like if you see the few videos that I put up about flat Earth, I ramble a lot, and that's just like and I've let it slide because I'm not really targeting a big audience or anything. But that's my thing. Like I even made a teleprompter already because I really want to stick to a script.
Yeah. Well, what I've decided, because what I want to do, and I'm kind of starting to do it. I've done it for a couple of buddies of mine. I'm going to start doing it for my coach that trains me MMA. Is I can edit other people's content very well. Like I see it. I even get you know what I'm talking about, where you see something that maybe they forgot that they should have in a edit, but if it's theirs, I can breeze through one pretty quick considering. But yeah, if it's for myself, I'm too critical on myself. I hate hearing my voice, the whole nine. So that's what I'm gonna start doing. Like just projects for other people that need like short edits and stuff like that. That's the fun. I think I like doing that a lot.
I relate. That's what I used to too.
Yeah, but I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Jay, you still have your 24-hour thing, right?
Yes.
All right.
24/7.
Yeah, I'll put I got to put the link in down the bottom. I have your channel there, so go check out Jay Alex. He makes beats, sells beats. It's pretty good. It's aight. The website, the IMJ for music, that's still good, right?
I am
Music for lease or beats for lease.
I don't have a website.
Dude, you're telling me you sure?
I'm positive.
Oh yeah, you should then go in my description and hit that IMJ for music and check that out because your shit's there.
Wait a minute.
Here, I'll put it in the side chat right now.
That's weird. Because I have a few people.
That's it right there.
Hold on, let me take a look. Because I have other people that use the same channel name as me, and they have my music on their channel.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Fuck. Oh, Sean G.
I'm out of here. See you guys.
All right, have a good one, Blue.
You put it in the
in this side chat just now.
I don't see.
Oh, did I put the YouTube link in there? Why did I do that? Did I? Yeah, I'll send it to you on Discord then, because I'm about to get out of here anyway.
For sure.
All right, I'll see you in a little bit.
All right.
All right, people. So, on a scale of 5 to 10, I thought that was a fun one. One of the things that we didn't get into that I definitely wanted to talk about is the video in that we were talking about, the Lake Pontchartrain one compared to the other ones, and the fact that that's one single observation. We would obviously need multiple observations. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit up Dean and see if we can have another conversation about it, because here's the thing. I now understand, and that's a big thing to me. A lot of you guys know that. The understanding of things is how you come to how you come to a conclusion about what you've observed. Again, that video looked fake as hell. But at the same time, I made it clear that I didn't understand what they were explaining until, the understanding is, extended better to fit what I need to hear. So I do get why. I don't apologize to Scotty. Some of you guys already know why. I won't get into it. To what happened earlier. F you, can't stop me. I'm still here. Keep trying, bitches. I don't know what you guys want me to say, but at least now I know exactly who's kind of behind all that shit, because guess what? Chris. Shit doesn't just happen like that around here, so when a little bitchy ass little whiny gossip girl gets upset and suddenly all that starts happening, you kind of out yourself, dumbass. So with that said, guys, I'm out.